Hello friends, I'm Annie Botticelli and welcome to my February 2025 horoscopes. I'm calling the theme of this month, Tsunami of Change. This report is going to include a quick intro to give you an overview of all of the themes that we're going to be seeing this month. And then I'll drill down into each sign's report, which will be time-stamped. On YouTube, you can find the timestamps by looking at the ... more under the video. And then you'll have to click more one more time in order to reveal the full notes that will have the timestamps. Podcast listeners, I understand my notes don't always sync over, but you can always find all of my notes if you go to buzzsprout.com or search for Annie Botticelli Buzzsprout, and you can find my podcast there and the timestamps will be there. This is a very powerful time, and that's why I'm using a very powerful word, a very powerful phrase like tsunami of change. The last time I used this phrase, actually the first and only and last time I used this phrase, it was for a Sagittarius report at the end of last year. And when I looked at the energy, all I saw was water, and I had no idea how much water was going to be coming because that was right before we had 3 hurricanes, and Milton was the last one there. And so many people were affected by that. And now in the United States where I am, we're out of hurricane season right now. So it probably won't be coming that way, hopefully, but only half my listeners are in the United States. So, this is definitely a time with all of these placements in water that we need to look out for water where it's not supposed to be. Also, this can be amazing because the energy of water can carry challenges, but the energy of water can carry blessings. So we are going to drill down into all of this and what it can look like. So having so many planets moving through water, Mercury will get there into Pisces, the Sun will get into Pisces, Ceres will get into Pisces, Saturn's already there, the new moon will happen, Venus is in Pisces, Neptune is in Pisces, and transiting North Node is recently in Pisces. And then, of course, we've got Mars in Cancer, Vesta in Scorpio, and Juno in Scorpio. So we've got 11 placements moving through water signs at the same time as we have eclipse season. The eclipses happen March 13th to 14th. We've got a lunar eclipse at 23 degrees of Virgo. And then March 29th, we have a solar eclipse at 9 degrees of Aries. So if you haven't followed my work, then you may ask, why, Annie, are you talking about these March eclipses in February and saying it's eclipse season? And that is because as an astronomical event, the eclipses happen on those days. As astrological events, this season starts and gets really strong 4 to 6, even 8 weeks before the actual eclipses. So by February now, we're very much into the heat of eclipse season. So the changes that are going to come from that final Aries Libra eclipse in the 2-year cycle, the second Pisces Virgo eclipse in a series that runs until 2027, all of that energy is wrapped up into the month of February at the same time as all of this water energy. And that is where I'm getting this name from, because it's going to be profound change, no doubt. We'll go back to the waterworks here. First, I want to just breeze through in order some important dates and some important events with just a little summary of what you can expect. I will drill down into these for your sign specific when we do, the area with the timestamps. So very exciting news. Jupiter is going direct this month, February 4th, after spending 4 months retrograde. You may have noticed that things that were strengthening, building, expanding towards the end of last year may have suddenly just stopped and went backwards and lost steam. And that was twofold. That was Jupiter going retrograde, and then that was Mars going retrograde. So on the 4th, we've got Jupiter going direct. Things are going to wake up and move forward in many ways. Then we also have on the 23rd to 24th, Mars going direct. Now that post-shadow period doesn't finish until May 2nd for Mars, but there are still 2 significant things waking up at this time, and that may also be a part of this tsunami of change. On the 12th, we've got the full moon in Leo, and this is your time in the days around the 12th. Shine like a supernova. This very fiery full moon is a spotlight moment. It can bring you out onto the stage, out into the public eye. It ignites creative expression and confidence and tricks, for better or worse. Full moons do tend to bring high emotion and A very, very vibrantly expressive sign like Leo can often bring quite a lot of theatrics and drama, for better and worse. So in those days in the middle of the month, definitely look out for fullness, completion, fruition, um, an unapologetic flair that you may be bringing at this time. This is a time where you can do a full moon release ceremony to release things along the lines of Leo ruled topics like children, creativity, romance, true love, dating, all of that, your bucket list, things you've always wanted to do, your individual expression, any wishes or intentions or release or things to be revealed on those topics. You can use the days around the 12th for that. So Mars will be going direct. We mentioned that on the days around the 23rd or 24th. The action and ambition planet is finally going direct. There's a very long post and pre-shadow period for this. This really started, all the way back October. We started the pre-shadow transit, and then we had the retrograde, and now we have until May 2nd. But basically that's going to wake up many things along home and family and housing, just your general ambition, your general drive, your general passion and inspiration and momentum. So even though we are still in the deepening grips of Venus retrograde, which we'll get to here in a minute, the fact that Mars is waking up and the fact that Jupiter is waking up, these signify a very big deal. So within our still long retrograde cloud or fog, these are very big wake-up moments. And then that coupled with the eclipse time, things are really, really being activated, and you will feel it. It's kind of like a relay race of stops and starts, because just as certain things are starting to ignite, certain other things may be going to sleep from the Venus retrograde. So you'll see certain things losing steam and other things activating. Very wise way to deal with this energy and work with this energy consciously is if something is losing momentum, rather than forcing it, just go with the things that have the momentum. And then you can align with the natural rhythms of the universe, which is my intention to help you to do. Okay, so we're going to be talking a lot about Pisces energy, but one of the dates to note is the 27th. We've got the new moon in Pisces at 9 degrees on the days around the 27th. So this is a touch point for setting wishes, making wishes and setting intentions along the lines of anything Piscean, which we'll get to more of that here in a minute. And one other date I'm going to give you is Venus is going retrograde on March 1st. Okay, that's one day into our next month, but it's close enough. So with every day we move through February, Venus is starting to shut down. So things involving love and beauty and values and self-worth and romance and income may be starting to turn around. Now, sometimes this brings challenges within relationships, but sometimes it has the opposite effect, where if there was dullness or, blocks within your relationships, the reverse can now activate those. But whatever it is, you're in for a change of the direction of whatever's been happening in those arenas. Now, Venus retrograde can bring money back from the past, and you actually can make quite a bit of money in this time. Sometimes you will have a lot of expenses and sometimes you will lose sources of money, but I've seen it happen many, many, many times that opportunities come during Venus retrograde for you to earn money. A few top things to know here is that you may not be seeing clearly along the lines of things that Venus rules. You may not be seeing clearly in love, so try to, move slowly and not do anything permanent sometimes is good advice. You might not be seeing clearly in money. Often things that are purchased at this time turn into money pits. That being said, Venus retrograde does tend to be a time that you can actually get some really, really good deals if the money is expendable. My rules for Venus retrograde, I actually have quite a lot of info on all retrogrades in my book, Planetology, how to align with the natural rhythms of the universe. But I'll give you a couple points here. One very important thing to know about Venus retrograde is if you have the extra money and you won't miss it, if something goes awry with what you purchase, then it's completely fine to buy things. You just have to be extra careful if you're getting yourself into a payment you can't afford, or if you're, overstretching yourself, or if you're spending money that you don't have. those are the things that you want to avoid during Venus retrograde. But it really can be a bargain hunter's delight. And actually, I do have another place where you can, if you go to anniehelpsyou.com, you not only get all of my content early, you get free VIP access to my retrograde resource page. So I do have all the links to all of my retrograde resources there, and you get all kinds of other stuff too. But if you're interested in understanding the retrogrades and getting this transit right, since it covers so many areas of life, then you can have some resources there. It also covers design. So it's not always well indicated to do huge, expensive design projects when Venus is in retrograde. Let's talk about some of the dates to be mindful of here with the Venus retrograde, and that will help guide you along. So Venus is going retrograde on March 3rd. March 1st. It will be retrograde until April 13th. That pre-transit shadow period started at the end of January, and the post-shadow transit will go until May 17th. All right, so just to give you an idea of when all of this is happening. I have seen one big warning with Venus retrograde. If you are separating from your partner or your romantic or business or making business decisions, I've seen many a person be so ready to be done with the person that they give away more than they should of what they have coming to them from the financial part of it, because they just want to be done. And usually they wind up regretting that. So if that's one of the reasons why it's better to not go through the finalization of dealings with money during this time, because you very often will be feeling emotional or feeling excessive in one way or another, only to take your, as I call them, Venus retrograde goggles off after the transit and be like, what was I thinking? So, you just have to approach things very carefully. Businesses started in Venus retrograde generally end within 18 months. This is what I've seen from me tracking this over decades. And if you're trying to start a short-term business or a segue business, then it could be great. I've had at least one very great business during a Venus retrograde before astrology stuff just took center stage. And then I've just been doing that ever since. But I did have a really great business during a Venus retrograde. And if I would have misunderstood recommendations, or if someone would have said, don't start anything new during a retrograde, this is something I hear people think, and it is just not true. You can start new things during Venus retrograde and other retrogrades. You just have to be aware of what may come along with that new thing. So if you start something new and you expect it to be very long, then you're very shocked when it's shorter term. That's where you have to be careful. But there's many, many, many a successful endeavor that can take place during Venus retrograde. So you can be, looking out for that. And I'll talk about that more in March and April, but I just wanted to give you a heads up about it now. So generally during eclipse season, there are non-negotiable changes that are out of our control, and we can only really control how we're going to deal with what comes up. If you're getting hit by a close degree with these eclipses, then you may notice them more. Some people go through eclipse time and they notice that what comes up for them is they're just watching other people go through stuff or supporting other people as they go through stuff. So it's just going to depend on how it mathematically hits in your chart. But, it very often will have a chance to clear karma very quickly, because the ecliptic is a point where, where this is what's going on. We get to see things differently, experience things differently, change our mind about things, which changes our life. And so sometimes very sudden non-negotiable change will come, a tsunami of change. This is going to be a very, very, very emotional month. I mean, as a fire sign with many, many fire placements myself, I'm kind of quaking in my boots here, because this is supposed to be a very airy type of energy. And you can see at the beginning of the month, we've got, because February is Aquarius, sun dominated time, right? So usually this time is very focused on that. But very quickly, I actually brought this out to show you the progression. So as the month goes on, this is at the beginning of the month, this is at the middle of the month, and we keep picking up new planets in Pisces as the month progresses. And by the end, Ceres is there, the Sun, Mercury, Saturn, North Node, and Neptune, and of course that new moon, and then Venus switches into Aries, but it had been in Pisces. So, we will see the social connectivity and the, interesting and wacky, weird, wild, and wonderful energies of Aquarius popping up here, because we do have things happening. And of course, Pluto has, recently moved into Aquarius to stay for 20 years. But this is going to be a little bit muted. It's going to be muted by water, and it's going to be all about Pisces. So Pisces has to do with deep emotion and intuition and, the lesser seen realms. The 12th house ruled by Neptune. Neptune's still just hanging on in its own sign, not for that much longer. The second eclipse in a series of Pisces Virgo eclipses that runs until 2027. All of this is putting our attention on our inner world. The inner world is where it's at. Psychology, spirituality, angels, guides, intuition, healing, the cosmic consciousness, meditation, prayer. And on the other side of this is addiction, avoidance, escapism, the fantasy realm, for better and worse. And, it's a very introspective and introverted and internal type of energy. Pisces energy moves in a spiral, it's mutable, and it moves in a downward spiral. So it spirals inward and downward. So you go down in and deep. This is like the most dreamy and mystical and boundless energy. And it gives us an option here for a profound spiritual reset. So the sun, getting there as the month progresses, is going to, and then also the transiting North Node, and then Neptune conjunct the transiting North Node, is going to really give you some insight into your soul's purpose. And the whole time of these eclipses from now into 2027, the North Node, our area of highest expression in this lifetime, is going to be focused on Pisces. So all these things that I'm talking about for this period of time, which is February, but very much flows into March as well, is, very much about catching those areas of our highest expression that have to go with, or have to do with, those inner realms. So Ceres is going to call for nurturance and emotional healing, reminding you to tend to yourself and to others with compassion and forgiveness. And Saturn is really great to ground this dreamy energy here, because it's a stabilizer. It's the skeleton of our experience, and it can help you to build this spiritual resilience. And this time can be very much about that. The new moon in the days around the 27th is a time to make wishes around all these Piscean things and to give you a fresh start in these arenas. Even though we're in the Venus retrograde time, the fact that Jupiter and Mars are waking up can definitely give you an amazing fresh start, and a fresh start in your inner world. And some of these actions and the things that are waking up may be you taking action in your inner world, healing an addiction, dealing with, issues that you've been carrying for your whole life, and even possibly prior to this life, and birth trauma and all of that. Neptune is going to heighten your imagination and your intuition. This energy is all about creativity also, and creation and art and music and poetry. And this is, this whole thing is really a spiritual wave. And the wave can bring you this tsunami of change, but the wave can also bring you flow, because we do have nice aspects that are occurring at the same time. For instance, we've got Saturn and Mars joining right as Mars finishes its final go backwards. See, it's moving backwards, so it goes from 20 to 17 degrees, and then it will join here with Saturn and make the most favorable angle in all of astrology, the trine. Well, actually, it's just in a loose trine all month, and then the official trine will happen into March. But this general energy of tying long-term results into, action from dreamy, psychological, spiritual experiences. So Mars in Cancer is definitely an emotional activation. And, coupled with the beautiful angle here that it's going to make with these other planets, it gives you the emotional drive and the courage through vulnerability, and it helps you to take action to protect what matters most. Then we have Vesta and Juno. Vesta in Scorpio, definitely going to light the fire of your inner sacred flame and deepen your intimate relationships, help you to focus on, again, your inner world and your connections with other people. And Juno is looking for that soul alignment in relationships. So in the sign of Scorpio, she rules the energy of relationships. She's really looking for this energy to transcend the superficial and go in deep. So, all of this is very much a phoenix-like energy, calling you to release just the things that are no longer serving you and to rise anew in these sacred commitments to your soul's journey. It's no less than all of that. Okay, so we're going to move on to the time-stamped section. A couple of things to know. I've given you some great dates here. If you want more dates, go to anniehelpsyou.com. And you will get not only my eclipse resource page, my retrograde resource page, my zodiac health tips, my 28-day virtual coaching program, but you'll also get my monthly written star report with my sweet and salty dates and things that you may see from my favorite and the most challenged aspects of the month. So when you go to anniehelpsyou.com and you put your name and email address in there, you'll become part of my free VIP community and you will get all of these goodies. Now, moving on to the timestamps. Again, you can find them in the notes underneath the video or the podcast. If you can't find them in your podcast menu, search for Annie Botticelli Buzzsprout on my home podcast site. There are notes underneath the video, and I have the timestamps in there. And you can listen to the one for your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, or any other placement that you're going to listen for, for that sign. And big important thing to know is that if you are subscribed to me on YouTube, YouTube has not been notifying my subscribers or anyone's subscribers for that matter that they are posting new things. There is some sort of algorithm thing that's happening where we no longer are able to access all of our people who have said they've subscribed. So I also know a lot of you are not officially subscribed. So if you want to get all of my content and not miss anything, I've been posting almost weekly. Go to anniehelpsyou.com, join that free VIP community, and you'll get all kinds of resources to help you make the most of the astrology for the month. But you'll also get notification when I post, because without that, you may, just not see me pop up on there at all because of whatever YouTube is doing. So that's just a very important message. That's the best way that I can stay in touch with you personally, regardless of YouTube shenanigans. All right, so let's go on to the sign-specific sections now. Okay, Aries friends, so now we're going to drill down into your picture. This is for you if Aries is your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, or any other Aries placement you're listening for. What I'm going to talk about here is part of your astrological picture. If you're a very late degree Aries friend, so birthdays like April 15th through the rest of the sign, or Aries placements like 23 degrees through the rest of the sign, I suggest you listen to the Taurus report, which will come directly after this one because your very late degree friends will benefit from both readings. If you haven't already listened to the intro, I suggest you do that because I'm going to be referring back to it and adding on top of what I discussed there. I'll also be adding some different information in that we didn't talk about there that will enrich this reading. Now, something that we didn't talk about at length was the fact that we do actually have quite a bit of Aquarius energy, even if it's very quickly going to turn into Pisces and add to that tsunami of change energy. But we do want to talk about this, especially for Aries, because these Aquarius placements do make a fabulous angle for us. I have Aries rising, so I'm along here with you. Now, Pluto recently finally staying in Aquarius for 20 years. This is not going to be changing for 20 years. So we're not going to talk too much about that now, but it is adding to the Aquarian energy that will be bringing a strong social component. Additionally, Jupiter waking up in the sign of Gemini in Aries, house of Gemini. These are levels of social engagement that are going to be making this month very much about interacting with other people. Now, at the same time as we have this quiet personal pursuits and, introverted energy of Pisces, this other stuff is going on. So you may be having to dive into your quiet time to deal with all the overstimulation that you're getting from the social things. Or you may find that what's waking up is social connections with one-on-one or small groups that are less overwhelming. And that's how you're doing this. A lot of networking opportunities, definitely a time where if you're looking for answers or help, you can find it through your connections with other people. And since there's a 60-degree angle between Aries placements and Aquarius placements, These are what I like to call the ingredients on a counter type of energy, because they offer great opportunities, but sometimes you have to do something with the ingredients, like make a pie. Okay, so just be looking out for something that you may have to do a little work to convert into something cool. This isn't an energy like a trine that just delivers things into your lap, although there may be some of that as well this month. This particular energy is, both the Jupiter on the Jupiter end and the Aquarius end are both 60-degree angle stories. So, be prepared to kind of look and see what you may need to do to get the goodies out of what's happening right now. As Jupiter moves direct, things that were sleeping in writing or education or teaching or relationships with siblings or aunts or uncles or cousins, all of those may start to blaze forward very quickly. If you are having vehicle or mobility issues, Jupiter moving direct may also bring some amelioration to that. The Aquarius energy is also very much about community mindedness, where you're sharing your gifts into a group and making something so much better, go so much further. Mars waking up in the fourth house for Aries. It's in the sign of Cancer for everybody. It's in the house of Cancer for Aries. That's making this all doubly true. We've had a very long push of Mars, our ruler, going through Cancer since last September, and then dipping into Leo for a short time and coming back. But a lot of focus on home and family. So you'll see in the upcoming months, all of that focus hopefully will have gone to something great. You may have corrected some things, may have healed some things, may have built some things, may have shored up some things in your family and home and your inner world. And now things are preparing to move forward. Everyone will feel the ambition increase, or has a chance to feel the ambition increase from Mars moving forward. But especially those ruled by Mars, like Aries, you may notice that you're more zesty, you're more spunky, you're more excited, you're more enthusiastic. And that, coupled with Jupiter moving forward, you may be able to plan more into the future, and you may be able to see further into the future and have more clarity about things as far as long-term types of projects. As the month progresses, Ceres, the Sun, and Mercury will join Saturn, the new moon, on the 27th, and then Venus and Neptune and transiting North Node in Pisces. Now, by then, Venus will have moved on to Aries, which we'll get to, but needless to say, this is the tsunami of change type of energy, all of this water, as well as Juno in Scorpio, Vesta in Scorpio, and Mars in Cancer, 11 different placements in water, combined with it being eclipse season, combined with these two planets moving forward. It's definitely time for change. Now, as the planets are in Pisces, they activate Aries' 12th house of Pisces. This is your inner world. This is what makes you tick. It's your psychology. It's your ancestry that gave you gifts and challenges from your blood, from your upbringing, from your imprinting. It's the good, wonderful gold that you find in your grandparents' attic that was passed down to you. It's the hidden talents and the hidden gifts and the things that have value that you didn't know were there. And it's also addictions and fears and avoidance and procrastination. So you're going to have it all. If you have anything that is a problem for you in your life, this would be an amazing time, rather than running into the negative vibration of Pisces, escaping, avoiding addictions, is to use the Aries way and confront it head on through therapy or through healing or through prayer or through meditation or through introspection. And doing all of this, you can make it better, not just now, but also in the future. Being a fellow fire sign, I have a ton of energy in Sag. I'm a Sag sun with Aries rising. I always quake in my boots a little bit when I see a ton of water energy like this, because I know that my flames are going to be doused. And fire people don't like their flames to be doused. Sometimes, however, our flames do need to be doused. This doesn't seem like a time where our flames would need to be doused, though, because we've just had Jupiter and Mars retrograde. So maybe we're unambitious enough already, right? So we could be getting dogged emotionally for our own things coming up. And it could be from other people's things. This family stuff still coming up. Maybe other, people in your family are going through things and it's having to be dealt with. So it's going to be very, 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 very emotional. It's not in the best angle for Aries, I'll be honest. I don't want you to be afraid, because it can have a lot of beautiful outcomes. As I said, you can heal things that have been a problem for a long time, it can be dreamy and fantastical and romantic and poetic and activate your creative sector and help you to get more connected to the divine. But, it also can have these other effects. So at least now going into it that this is going to be a much more emotional month than February tends to be, because we start to really have an Aquarius dominated time, which is good for our energy. It's vibrant, it's fire, air coming together, enlivening, but for February and March, we're definitely going to be, having to slow down in certain ways. Certain things will be speeding up from these things moving direct, and Venus going retrograde is going to contribute to the slowing down. So we've got some things waking up and moving forward. We've got Venus slowing down, having to bring back some things from the, into the past for us again. And specifically, Venus is going to be going retrograde in our sign. So we'll get to that in a second. But, this is definitely a time where there are certain things that you're just not going to be able to leave them until they're dealt with. So there might be a lot of emotional unfinished business, emotional baggage, psychological baggage, just really dealing with undealt with things. Things have been swept under the rug for a long time. You may have to have some conversations with people, and hopefully all of this Pisces energy will help you to stay connected and calm and heart-centered. So now let's talk about some good stuff. Oh, actually, just one more thing about the heavy 12th house. Before our birthdays, or before the sun crosses over your Aries placement, which is what starts to happen, in March and then going into April, before that happens, the weeks before, everything gets crowded in the 12th house. So, or at least some things get crowded. It happens to be more things than usual here. So it's purposeful to go through these trials, because then as you have your birthday wishes, when it's time for that, or as you have the sun enlivening your Aries placement for your intention setting, you'll know more clearly what it is you want to leave behind you and what it is you want to put your power in moving forward. Okay. So a discernment process has been going on with a lot of your relatives, and you've been seeing who you're going to invest in and seeing who you're going to leave behind. And this period of time is going to still have those things there, but also very much what psychological perspectives or viewpoints or beliefs or dramas or patterns are you going to leave behind as the energy starts to move into Aries. Now, as Venus goes there very quickly into the month, not only will it be there for this month, but it's going to be having a presence and never be more than 4 or 5 degrees away for the entire Venus retrograde cycle. So that means from now until June 7th, we've got Venus in or close to our sign of Aries. So this is really exciting. This is an extra period of time, and we get blessings from Venus. We get good things coming from the past, money from the past, love from the past. Yes, it can slow certain things down in money and love, but there's equally a chance for those things to be replaced by, coming back from something from the past with these things, like a resurgence or a renaissance. When Venus gets into Aries and then lights up the first house of Aries, it activates our persuasion. It can make us more magnetic. It's a great time to take photos, or, do something where you're sprucing yourself up some. Now, a big caveat here to know is permanent beauty treatments are not best indicated during Venus retrograde. So surgeries or things that could get botched up, or more serious, types of procedures, those are usually better for not being in Venus retrograde or the shadow period. So what is indicated, though, is low stakes things that aren't permanent, like finding a new skincare line, or, trying a new style, but not investing all of your savings. This is a time where if you have extra money, you can spend it, but don't don't overextend, basically, because things can become a money trap at this time. And although it can be a bargain hunter's delight just as easily, Venus retrograde, very many things purchased during this time can wind up becoming, a money pit. There is definitely that chance. So you have to be very, very careful and do your inspections of whatever you buy. But back to the beauty stuff, it's really good for experimenting. So getting a henna tattoo in a place, in a style that you may want to get a tattoo in the future, or, clothes swapping with your friends rather than spending a bunch of money on clothes. Things like that are really good for the Venus retrograde season. And you might find a lot of bargains. So if you're a bargain hunter, that can definitely happen. But Venus moving through the first house can help you enhance your health and your vitality, your appearance, can spruce things up, and can, combined with Mars going direct, Jupiter going direct, can definitely, give you some oomph and some zest returning into your life. We're on the topic of the first house. I'll talk about the eclipses more in March, in the March report, but I'm going to mention it now since this is the last eclipse in the Aries Libra season. It is our season. It is an eclipse at 9 degrees of Aries. So I am just going to mention it here because we are in eclipse season and you may see manifestations. So since early 2023, for 2 years, we've been in this cycle of flip-flopping me versus we and establishing more autonomy while going deeper into relationships, trading out old patterns for new ones, having more independence and interdependence within our relationships, healing codependency, and really just reevaluating and fixing up our relationships. And so now we end this eclipse cycle with this brilliant solar eclipse, new beginnings being opened in our autonomy, in our independence, in our viability, with whatever we do, our sustainability, our lifestyle just being more easily manageable. All of these things are opened up as opportunities. Now, I've given you a lot of dates. If you want more dates, then definitely go to anniehelpsyou.com and you'll get all of my content early, first of all. You'll also get my eclipse resource page. I'll show you exactly what videos to listen to depending on your sign and your placement. I lay it out of where the eclipse is going to hit for each. Both eclipses are going to hit for each. You can get a leg up on that and not have to wait until March. My retrograde resource page, my zodiac health tips, my 28-day virtual coaching program, and my monthly written star report with the sweet and salty dates. So when you put your name and email address in at anniehelpsyou.com, you go to the archive link, and then you put in February 2025, and then it will pull up this report about midway through with the sweet and salty dates, and then towards the end, I have my favorite dates and the ones to be careful and careful of. So you can get more dates by going that way. Something else that's also really important about joining my free VIP community is that YouTube in particular has been getting worse and worse with actually letting people who subscribe to someone's channel receive notifications from that person. So I know that nowhere near the 150,000 people that are subscribed to me are getting notifications when I make posts. And I know this because of many different things. Partly, you all have been telling me, where are you? Where have you been? Oh, I'm here. And I'm actually here more than ever. I've been posting, weekly, but YouTube has a different algorithm. They're putting different things on your homepage because of their agenda in their war with trying to, I don't want to get into this, but they're having a battle with a different company of trying to have superiority, and they're having a pissing match or whatever. So they're dictating what's going on your homepage away from things that you're subscribing to. So if you want to get my content and not miss anything, the best way to do that is to stay connected to me personally and not just me through the page, because they're running interference between me connecting to you and giving you important messages and information. So that's another reason to join my newsletter list at anniehelpsyou.com. So if you're a late degree friend, April 15th to the rest of the sign, 23 degrees to the rest of the sign, stay on and listen to the Taurus report. Or if you have a moon in Taurus, rising Taurus, something like that, stay on for that. If you are going on to one of my other reports, great, I'll see you in that one. If you're signing off, I'll see you in my next post. If you want to know your moon and your rising so that you can go more into your chart, just look online for how to run a free birth chart. Then when you get the moon sign and the rising sign, you can come back and listen to those time-stamped areas for those signs as well, and you'll have multiple layers of how the energies are going to be for your personal astrological picture. Again, the timestamps are underneath the video. If you click on the ... more button and then click on more again, they'll be there. Also, listening on podcast, you may have to go to Annie Helps You, or actually, you may have to go to Annie Botticelli Buzzsprout and listen to my home, on the home site for my podcast, because sometimes my notes that I put on my home site don't carry over into Spotify and these other places. So if you're looking for the timestamps, you may have to find them there. Okay, bye for now. See you later. Hello, Taurus friends. Okay, so we're going to drill into the specifics for your sign now that I've gone over the introduction that lays the foundation for the things I'm going to discuss. This is for you, Taurus is your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, or any other Taurus placement you're listening for. What I'm going to talk about here is part of your astrological picture. If you're a very late degree Taurus friend, so birthdays like May 15th through the rest of the sign, or Taurus degrees like 23 degrees to the rest of the sign, I suggest you additionally listen to my Gemini report, as your very late degree friends will benefit from both readings, and that will follow this one. So you can just go straight through and listen to it that way. Okay, so we talked about the tsunami of change that can come from all of this water energy. Mercury's going to get there, the sun will get there, Ceres will get there, Saturn's there, new moon, Venus, Neptune transiting North Node, Mars in water sign Cancer, Juno in Scorpio, Vesta in Scorpio. All of this energy is, combined with Jupiter waking up moving forward and Mars waking up moving forward, plus eclipse season heating up every day we move through February, is this catalyst for active, tsunami of change. And we can see changes come in any area of life, but I'll talk about some specific areas where, there's a lot of energy in your chart that you're more likely to see something happening. All right, so let's take it piece by piece. Jupiter can awaken anything that has been sleeping in your life, especially since around October. But specifically for Taurus, this is your money sector. So if you had things moving forward and expanding until around October, and then things started to go backwards, and you know why. Jupiter went retrograde and you may have felt forsaken, but now he is back online and things will move forward again. Into June of 2025, this year, you will have Jupiter expanding your financial sector. A very, very high percentage of the time, people will earn more money or, expand their material realms in notable ways during the year that we have Jupiter in this placement. So now that it's awake, this is happening. Those of you, so for the whole house chart, it will be there until June for everybody. From the Placidus chart perspective, later degree friends, so like May-born friends, you will have longer with Jupiter in that second house, still expanding your finances, because April Taurus friends, you had Jupiter there before they did from the Placidus house perspective. Okay, so nobody's getting left out. There's just a staggered time when you look at Placidus chart. Okay, so hopefully that's expanding your finances in good ways and getting you some material things that you really want. Now Mars, and then also Jupiter is waking up with the energy of Gemini, which is the same place that Mars is waking up, okay? Because Gemini rules the third house and Mars is in your third house. Mars is in the sign of Cancer, but it's in your third house of Gemini. So both of these planets moving forward are going to enliven Gemini things for you in a general basis because of Jupiter in the sign, but in a personal way because of Mars being there. Okay, so what does that mean? This means that you're teaching and learning and writing projects and communication related projects and mobility and social interactions, especially with people close to you, like neighbors and relatives that are sisters, brothers, cousins, aunts, uncles, like everybody in there. That's going to be waking up. But because Mars covers the rest of your family, not those people, anyone that is related to you has, there's something that can be starting to move on now from whatever has gone on with the retrogrades. Okay, so you will see that happening. You may see tsunami of change in these areas as well. Okay, so the next thing is that we didn't talk about this a bunch in the intro. We do actually have, Mercury, the sun, and Ceres in Aquarius. This is, after all, the sun in Aquarius majority of time of the year. We are getting a little flooded out by all of this extra Pisces energy, but we do have Aquarius energy. And specifically for Taurus, that's activating your work and career. Pluto's also there in a long-term way, saying grow or die. And the pressure is on in the short term and the long term for you to make something happen with your work, with your career, with your employment, with your parents, with your authority figures, with you as an authority figure, with your passion projects if you're retired or don't need to work. So your place out in the world is being very strongly accentuated at this time. And those placements are making squares to your Taurus placement. So there's something about the stability and the constancy of things, that how you've had them, that are going to be tested in the short term and the long term. And that's where this energy of grow or die comes with Pluto. If you've listened to my work for a while, then you may have heard me mention that, just sharing my experience, just having had since 2008, I had Pluto moving through my 10th house, okay, because I have Aries rising. So I experience these transits before you do. So I've just gone through a very long time of Pluto in that place. And just to give you an idea of what that looked like, I was forced to go into YouTube. The universe made me do that. Forced to dive into astrology. The universe made me do that. And everything has been very successful, but all along the way, I keep having to learn and push and grow and expand. And it's been really nonstop for this whole time. And I've been able to be super successful as a result of knowing that Pluto was saying grow or die. Okay, so knowing this, knowing that you're going to have to push out of your comfort zone, push, into different realms, possibly involving, technology, because it is in Aquarius. You're going to have to do that in your place out in the world. And if you know that, then you can do what you're supposed to do, and then hopefully you'll have wonderful success. Okay, so then Mercury, the Sun, Ceres will join all these other placements talked about in Pisces for this water works. Fortunately for Taurus, this makes a really nice angle for you, 60-degree angle of opportunity, as does the Mars continued movement through Cancer. So you've got on both ends water planets making 60-degree angles with your placement, giving you opportunities that you have to do something with in order to get the gold. These are not trine energies, which can deliver things right into your lap. And although you may get some goodies here and there, most of this is something is circulating as a possibility, and you have to do something to activate it. Okay, so the fact that Mars is moving forward now and that Jupiter is moving forward may mean that you have more ambition and more motivation to actually do something with the opportunities that come to you. So that's exciting, at least. This is going to be a very strange combination of all of this social energy waking up from this air energy with this super introverted, introspective, downward and inward energy of Pisces, also the inward energy of Venus retrograde, while these other things are waking up. So it's like a stop and start relay. Certain things are going to be stopped, and certain things will then, okay, now it's time to pick this up. So the more closely you follow the energy and just follow what's lighting up, if it's something you don't really have to do and you can just follow the flow, then you'll be so much happier if you can do that. If you have any inner problems, conflicts, warring with yourself, addictions, fears, this Pisces energy is amazing for healing this. You may need a helper, and that may be where some of the social energy comes from. Finding the perfect practitioner to help you. The combination of social energy with this really close private Pisces energy could mean that you're convening with individuals or small groups of people, and that the social aspect is more private, more personal, more, closed in, but is still happening nonetheless. And you may just need to take time for a quiet retreat for yourself to meditate and pray, or to find a hidden talent, or to do artwork, or to listen to the birds. This is all Piscean energy at its best. It's the attic of our being that can have goodies from our ancestry, like that golden vase that you find that's worth $1 million, or gunk that is a tendency towards turning on a genetic factor in your being that makes you more predisposed to certain illness. All of that is in the Pisces realm. So working with understanding and healing the epigenetics, the tendencies towards issues, and activating the good things while turning off the things that aren't so good, that's going to be part of the opportunities that you have coming to you at this time. And you may need to seek quiet space and seek counsel, and seek spiritual wisdom in order to be able to access these things. And that may be how some of the blessings come. I'll talk about the eclipses more in the March report. If you want a leg up on the eclipses to understand them better, go to anniehelpsyou.com. You'll get my eclipse resource page in the welcome letter. And in there, I will give all the information as to which signs are having which eclipse in which houses. And then I have videos for each of that, so you can follow my guide there, so you can understand what eclipse things you might see this month. And then I'll go into it more next month. But if you don't want to wait, that's one way to do that. So amidst all of the waterworks, Venus is going to emerge from the waterworks, go into Aries, and be there for a really long time. It will dip back in the retrograde process into Pisces for a short amount of time and then go back into Aries, but it's predominantly in Aries or not far away from Aries from now until June, into the first week of June. So it's highly irregular for that to happen. It only happens when we're in a retrograde cycle where it hits like that. So this could mean money and love projects need to be better protected. They may need to be nurtured more in a quiet space before they're brought out, which really works well for Pisces energy and for retrograde energy as well. You may be having secret meetings or private meetings on money or romantically. You may be getting away with your loved one, or loved ones. Be brainstorming business ideas with people close to you. It's definitely a time that calls for more protection of your nervous system, more protection of your relationships, more protection of your finances and your plans. And you will start to be able to see the future development of things that you're doing more now that these, Jupiter and Mars are direct, but there still is this leaning back towards the past that Venus is going to do as it moves through Aries, but there is a zest to it. There is, an excitement to it. There is a fire to it that will be noticeable amidst all of this water. The full moon in Leo at 24 degrees in the days around February 12th is going to be in your fourth house of home and family. So not only do you have Mars moving through the sign of the rulership of the fourth house, home and family, activated there, you'll also have fullness, completion, fruition, drama, especially in the center of the month, the days around before and after the 12th, a few days before and after the 12th. Where something may be brought to light, the fact that things are moving forward, there may be an accomplishment, or maybe you've been trying to sell your house and all of a sudden, bam, it happens and it closes at that time, or, something else related to family may go on at this time, for better or worse. Now, this is a square for Taurus, so there could be quite a bit of drama here. Sometimes there's good drama, right? We're not going to discount any possibility. But sometimes, it's stressful drama. So I always like to leave the days around a full moon freer if possible. I mean, I know you're busy. I'm super busy, but I just keep an awareness about this, especially if it's going to hit in a tough angle, because leaving yourself unscheduled or less scheduled for a couple of days may turn out to be exactly what you need to process through whatever goes on, or to show up fully for opportunities or for things that need your attention at this time. But you could just have something really fall into place or crack into a new reality as far as your living space or your family. Okay, so I've given you a lot of dates, but if you want more, my monthly written star report and my sweet and salty dates and my favorite dates of the month and the ones to be most awareful and careful of, go to anniehelpsyou.com, put your name and email address in there, get the archive link in the welcome letter. In the search bar of the archive link, put February 2025 to get this sweet and salty date letter. And midway down, I give you the dates, and then the second half is all reviewing, the best and most challenged aspects. You also get all of my content early when you sign up here. And you get my eclipse resource page, retrograde resource page, zodiac health tips, 28-day virtual coaching program, so much more. But one of the most important things that I'm really putting it out there to you, if you really love my work and you resonate with my work, YouTube in particular has been very, 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 what's the word I want to use? Well, let's just say that they're not in any way giving content creators full access to post messages or content to their subscribers. So many of you are not getting most of what I post, and I'm posting weekly now. So I've had a lot of people say, Annie, where's your stuff? Where have you been? What are you doing? I'm like, I'm here, still been here 12 years, still doing it all the time, showing up. But YouTube has its own agenda with your homepage that's different than your agenda for your homepage. I'm not going to get into all of that, but just to let you know that if you don't want to miss anything from me and you want to keep that line of connection between us tight, where if something happens or I'm offering something or I need to get information to you for one reason or another, or I've created something or I'm posting something, if you join my community, then we're connected without, somebody running interference, basically. So if you're interested in that, this is the best way to not miss anything from me. If you're a later degree placement, you're going to listen to the Gemini report. I'll see you there. If you know your moon and rising, you can go use the timestamps to go there. Again, you can find the timestamp underneath the YouTube video. Click on the ... more button, and then click on more again to reveal the full notes. podcast listeners, you may have to go to my home site, Annie Botticelli Buzzsprout, because I don't know if my notes underneath my podcast sync over to Spotify or all of those other places. They may. I'm not sure wherever you're listening. And if you're signing off now, I'll see you soon. I'll be posting very soon here, weekly, and hopefully you'll catch it wherever you are following me. Okay, see you soon. Hello, Gemini friends. Okay, we're going to dive into the things that we talked about in the intro, specifically for Gemini. I'll also add in more info that we did not talk about in the intro, and that is our foundation. So if you haven't listened to that, you may want to, because I will refer back to it. This is for you if Gemini is your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, or any other Gemini placement you're listening for. What I'm going to talk about here is part of your astrological picture. Very late degree Gemini friends, so birthdays like June 15th through the rest of the sign, or Gemini degrees 23 degrees through the rest of the sign, I suggest you additionally listen to my Cancer report, as you very late degree friends will benefit from both readings. And that report will follow this one, so you can just continue listening for you late degree friends after this one. Now, I'm going to go and talk about all of the things related to this tsunami of change. Again, we've got eclipse season upon us. Every day we go deeper into February, it is, more possibility for some life-changing event to occur. And that coupled with this ton of water, Mercury, the Sun, and Ceres start out in Aquarius, which we'll talk about because that's fellow air signs, and that's good for you all. But they will move into Pisces and join Saturn, the new moon, and Neptune and Venus, and transiting North Node in Pisces. So it's a waterworks type of a month. It's a little bit hard for air signs to deal with that energy sometimes. There may be some challenges associated with the things that come up with this energy, but we're going to go into all of it. So let's actually start with the Aquarius energy, because this is fun, this is good, this is exciting, this is light, and this is happening. So not only do we have Mercury, the Sun, and Ceres in fellow air sign making a fabulous aspect for your Gemini placements, we also now have for 20 years Pluto here. So if Pluto was dogging you in Capricorn, and I know it was because it was moving through very deep Scorpio water house in the structural sign of Capricorn, just really busting chops for Geminis, since 2008. So pretty excited with you that Pluto now is going to be working with you in a better way, at least from the perspective of your Gemini placements. So you may see, transformation and upliftment and the phoenix rising from the ashes of what burnt up over the last, since 2008, basically. So that's exciting. That's long term. Now, Mercury here, your ruler, and the Sun and Ceres moving through Aquarius, and add to that Jupiter moving direct in your sign, fellow air sign, and your sign. This is going to really up the social quotient. Okay, so social interactions are going to get a boost. Friendships, relationships of every kind are going to be really active at this time. You may have amazing conversations, and you may have exhilarating information and wonderful experiences, expanding horizons. And, as all of this Aquarius energy lights up your 9th house of Sagittarius, languages and cultures and adventure, all of that is, all of those things are the potentials to just really breathe life into Gemini and breathe activity. Geminis, as you know better than I do, get bored pretty easily, right? You're like, okay, what is this now? What is this now? And sometimes when you've got this air energy, it really just brings this amazing, interesting set of discussions and intriguing pieces of information and, really exciting research projects and learning and teaching. So those kind of things may be really moving forward with Jupiter moving direct. If you're a writer or trying to write or have some other communication project or creative expression project, especially if you noticed it started to kind of lose inspiration in October or so, then you may see life being breathed back into that now. And Jupiter will finish its time through your sign, expanding and setting a new 12-year cycle in place for Gemini between now and June of this year. Okay, so Jupiter is seeking to expand your authenticity and your certainty in yourself, and it's seeking to expand how you see yourself and how you present yourself to other people. And it may turn out that other people may be key to that expression at this time. Okay, so that's all exciting. Something else that's also exciting, I'll just give you a sneak peek into this, is that when Jupiter does change signs into Cancer in June, that activates your money sector. And it's very, 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 very common for profound financial advancement during the year that Jupiter moves through that placement. So you have that to look forward to. And right now, what Jupiter is doing is laying the groundwork for that success. So it's shoring up weaknesses in your physicality, your health, your wellness, your physical strength, your certainty in who you are and how you express yourself. And those are foundations that will then build into how you bring in physical resources. Okay, so this is a building process that's happening. Mars waking up is going to bring more ambition, bring more motivation. Both Mars and Jupiter moving direct can help you to see more into the future and make longer term plans. Even though Venus is in retrograde and it may stop some of that or call some things into question, there are certain elements that you will be able to see more clearly. You will be able to finally move forward on, and it will be a great relief. Mars is going to be continuing to activate home and family and housing. So you may notice things moving forward in those arenas. And the tsunami of change can come in any of these things that I'm talking about because, it is a time for change and vitality. And these placements in these particular areas of your world, are receiving the most attention and the most oomph. So Mars is going to be, it's actually moving forward in your second house of money as well. It's headed to your Gemini house, which is the same, thing that we've been talking about with the Jupiter energy. But for right now, Mars waking up in your second house can also activate your income or activate your drive to earn money or activate your drive to create financial and emotional security for yourself and whoever else, you may be helping out with that, taking care of. Because Venus is, imminently in retrograde, it's not necessarily the best time to launch your once in a lifetime business, but there are many, many, many things that you can do with retrogrades, including promos, short-term things, segues between jobs, short-term ventures, like you want to just do a certain, business for a year and a half or have a job position while you're looking for your perfect job position. The retrogrades are great for that. If you want to know more about the retrogrades, definitely go to anniehelpsyou.com. And in the welcome letter, you'll get my I will get my eclipse resource page, but you'll get my retrograde resource page. And I have a lot of links. I have more Venus retrograde things that I've done than I think anything else. So you can see all of that there, and you can find my Venus retrograde through the signs. And so Venus will be retrograde in Aries. So you can see more about that and get a sneak peek there. I will talk about it more next month also, but if you have to make some big decisions and you want to understand the retrogrades more, this may be of value to you. Okay, so do I want to just brave the water discussion? Let's do that. And then we'll move on to something else exciting, which is Venus going into fire. So at least we have that to look forward to as we have to deal with this water thing. So many, many, many blessings and beautiful emotional connections and spiritual breakthroughs and in-depth psychological healing and connectedness to the all that is can occur from the water placements. So yay. So look for those things, right? But what can also come from all the water placements, especially being in an awkward angle for you, a square, it's actually a pressure angle, can bring a lot of emotion, too much emotion, and water where it shouldn't be. Okay, and this can come in the form of fears, overwhelm, and a lot of this energy is in your place in the world, which is the 10th house. For many people, it's career, work, employment. Most people are or supposed to be in some way employed to earn money to take care of themselves and other people. And all of this water works, this tsunami of change energy from the water perspective is loaded up in your 10th house of work. So your tsunami of change may very well come in your workspace. It may come with a boss or with an authority figure or a parent, something very big happening there. It may come with a bittersweet opportunity to have a job, but then you have to leave someplace or move or something like that because of it. There's a lot centered around your place out in the world. If you're retired or you don't need money, this can be passion projects or whatever your public life is like, whatever you do out in public or how people know you, can be in this space, or your relationship with your parents or authority figures or things like that. But, this is very much an employment house or your place out in the world house, which may or may not be how you earn money. Yeah, so you'll be feeling it, and the water could be, dousing your good flow, but I'm hoping that Jupiter moving forward and Mars moving forward will be enough to buoy, through whatever comes up here. Okay, so let's talk about some fire stuff. Venus is going to pretty quickly early in the month move into Aries, and it's really hard to see from this chart, but it's actually accentuating your 11th house, okay? Fire or Aries placements accentuate your 11th house, and it's and this is your house that's ruled by Aquarius, which we already talked about Aquarius things. So, friendships, international things are coming up maybe from the 9th house, but groups that don't have borders, so people you have virtual connections with, social media, things like that, or in-person groups or community projects, all of that can be accentuated from Venus, and it can bring you money. And you could go back to a group that you went to, maybe a networking group, or you could see someone at a networking thing that you were interested in romantically, or you may have a financial opportunity or a job come up from you convening in a group with people. So as long as you don't have any strong intuition otherwise, going to, group meetings could be holding a lot of keys for you at this time and have a lot of vibrance. Now the Leo, let's see, I'm trying to make this a little more clear. All right, so the Leo full moon in the days around the 12th is going to accentuate your 3rd house of Gemini. Fullness, completion, fruition, drama coming to the house of theatrics and the sign of theatrics, Leo. Could be very, very dramatic. Fortunately for Gemini, this is in a nice angle for you, so hopefully that can bolster that a bit. But expect, some things that need attention at that time, or you being in the limelight or something like that. Something involving children or romance or your bucket list or things you've always wanted to do. And this is lighting up, elucidating your house of communication, of information, of mobility, of friendships, of neighbors. So there may be some opportunity to be seen in these realms. These are also relatives. This 3rd house are also relatives, like I mentioned before, your cousins and sisters and aunts and uncles. And, so you may have something notable happen there, an opportunity to connect with someone in your family or a friend that could be very fulfilling. If you're wanting your work to be seen more, or you're wanting your creative expression to be more of a part of your life and experience, those are things that you can use this full moon to try to bring about. You can ask for clarity about what's interfering with that happening. If you want children or you need something for your kids, this full moon could be a time where you get information, or you have something notable happen here. So just back to Venus real quick. Venus is going to be spending a longer than usual time in the 11th house in Aries. Basically, it'll be there or near there until June, which is, doesn't usually happen unless there's a retrograde. So you will have this energy of money from the past, romance from the past, love, friendship, groups, things from the past, going back to things that really, lifted your soul. And Venus will pop back into Pisces as part of the retrograde. And that's going to be part of, kind of this going back over your work and career and employment and place out in the world as part of your evaluation process. And maybe, opportunities can come for your work from the past too. So if you need a job or you need some help there, be looking to people that because there's a very good chance that something, involving the past is going to carry a very major importance right now. Okay, so I've given you a lot of dates, and if you want more dates, go to anniehelpsyou.com, put your name and email address in there, click receive, get the welcome letter, click on the archive link, and then put February 2025 in the search box, and you'll get my February report with the sweet and salty dates. About midway through that report are the dates, and then the second half of that newsletter is all of my favorite dates and the ones to watch that may be challenged. Okay, so I drill down into that. Also, you get all of my content early when you join this free VIP community. And you get my eclipse resource page, retrograde resource page, zodiac health tips, 28-day virtual coaching program, and so much more. But one of the biggest reasons why it would be really great for you to join this is if you enjoy my work and you want to stay connected to me and my work, the only sure way to get that information of my posting is really staying with me directly, because YouTube has shenanigans going on now. Well, they have been for a long time, honestly, where less and less they're giving, content creators who have worked for many years. I mean, I've worked developing my group for 12 years of consistently working and creating and showing up. And they have different agendas with your homepage than showing you the things that you subscribe to. So I'm not going to get into all of that, but just want to say that you may not be seeing that I'm posting pretty much weekly. And so if you're missing content from me and you don't want to, the best way to not miss anything and to get it all early is to join this free VIP community. And plus you get all these other perks. Okay. So, and that also just keeps a line of connection between us for anything that I may want to convey that I can't contact you, directly through YouTube very easily. If you're interested in keeping that line of connection, then this is something you may want to do. If you're going to listen to the Cancer report because you're a late degree friend, that will happen now. If you are going on to another one of the reports for your moon or rising or another of your placements, then great, I'll see you there. If you want to know more about yourself, find out just search for how to run a free birth chart in a search online. If you know your birth time and date and location, you can get your chart run for free online. Then you can take it back to, my horoscopes, and you can enrich your layers of understanding of how the stars may affect you. So bye for now. Hello, Cancer friends. Okay, so we're going to do the deep dive into all of this tsunami of change potentials for you specifically. This is for you if Cancer is your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, or any other Cancer placement you're listening for. What I'm going to talk about here is part of your astrological picture. Very late degree Cancer friends, so birthdays like July 15th through the rest of the sign, or Cancer degrees like 23 degrees through the rest of the sign. I suggest you stay on after this report and listen to the Leo report that will follow, because that will, for you late degree friends, will benefit from both readings. Okay, so we talked about a lot of things in the intro, and I'm going to build upon those things, talk about some additional things that we didn't talk about, and we'll relate all of the general things that are happening specifically to the Cancer chart. Okay, so going in order from Aries up until Cancer, you're the first sign that is a water sign that is going to get the greatest benefit from this crazy water sequence, okay? Because, water makes this beautiful trine with you. So at the beginning of the month, we do have Mercury and the Sun and Ceres in Aquarius. We'll talk about that. We'll get back to that. But they are going to move into Pisces and join Saturn, the new moon, Neptune, Venus for a short time, and transiting North Node in Pisces, which is a massive amount of water. And each of these planets have personalities. I always like to think of them as people as a party. And whenever they convene in the sky, they're having a party. And they're each bringing to the party something special, something different. And there are all these lines of energy within water that they're now making in the most fabulous aspect in all of astrology for Cancer, the trine. So all of the things that speak your language in Cancer, cozy, things that smell good and nostalgic, things that are soft and inviting, and candles in a cozy room, and conversation and poetry and music and emotional connection, and mushy things and romantic comedies, and maybe all of you don't like those things, but they certainly are things in the Cancer domain. And the more Cancer placements you have, the more you're likely to just enjoy that emotional connection, that quiet space, that intimate space where you connect with the people that mean the most to you in a place that's cozy, that is home or feels like home. All right, so you're going to have so much of that energy. Mercury, communication, the Sun lighting all that up, Ceres, the nurturance, Saturn bringing some stability and some long-term possibilities, the new moon, helping you to have wishes, to wish for more of this stuff. Neptune, idealistic and fantastical. Venus, love and money and relationships. The North Node, your area of highest expression this lifetime. So all of these are bringing these potentials within water and bringing your mind to the mystical and the sublime and the fantastical and the spiritual and the psychological and the places where there's depth. You know, that's the realm of Cancer. That's the realm of water. And we have more than that. We have Mars still in Cancer, your sign, extra long tour you all have had since September, just popping into Leo a little bit, never getting very far away from Cancer. So you have been the belle of the ball with this Mars retrograde, and you've had a lot of chance to work on family, to shore up the foundations within your home. And for many of you, you know, there have probably been a lot of changes over the last year within your home structure, and maybe if you're working in someone else's home, changes there. But either way, you know, this storyline is continuing and it's speaking your language. And adding to that, we have Vesta in Scorpio and we have Juno in Scorpio. Again, depth. You know, this is what you're craving in general. This is what you're especially craving now, and you will have the opportunity to have those things happen. Conversations with meaning, people of substance, interactions that matter. You know, all of that, this waterworks is full of this. And the tsunami of change that can happen can just be in profound positive relationships, expansion. You know, it can be in psychological healing. It can be in spiritual progress. It can be in, you know, you entering a time where you have your sacred space where you want it to be. You've cleared out clutter. You've gotten all the things you love. If you know Marie Kondo, she wrote a beautiful book called The Magical Art of Tidying Up and a follow-up book called Spark Joy. Both of these, if you haven't read them, they could be very valuable for you. Where she basically tells you to go through all of your belongings and touch them, hold them, see if they spark joy for you. You know, this is a process that has been going on and it will continue for Cancer, that just to have more joy in your life and to really just evaluate what you need to release in order to have that happen and what you need to bring in more of in order to usher that in. And all of these water transits can be part of that. So the tsunami of change can be, you know, the addition of all of this. Now, I can't tell this super clearly from this particular chart, so I'm going to have to doctor it up a little bit to make this easier to see. But all of this Pisces energy actually lights up your 9th house. Okay, your 9th house is your house of adventure, broadened horizons, seeing everything from the top of a mountain, creative solutions, the place where everything connects, you know, the comparative place where there are themes that are similar between things that are different, where you can see the connectivity of everything, learning and teaching and enriching your life and sharing what you know, and, you know, traveling and expanding in different cultures and languages and international business. That is what is being lit up by this water festival for you. So you may see the tsunami of change in opportunities like that, you know, in a chance to go beyond your 4 walls in ways that are enriching for you. And it may turn out being in the form of an armchair warrior, because Cancers do have this thing where they love to be home. They love to be cozy. They may like the idea of adventure, but, you know, trying to fulfill that and also be home may wind up something like virtual reality experiences of travel, or watching a great travel series, or reading a book that, you know, brings you for adventures, or living vicariously through someone who's going through, you know, doing these types of things. But however it is, it can expand and enrich your experience. And you may be the one actually stepping out to do these things as well. Jupiter has been moving through your 12th house since May of 2024. And I have been letting you know, if you've been following my work, that this is giving you a once in a 12-year chance to enhance your intuition in magical ways, and to finally start to tell the difference between your fear and your intuition, and be able to use your intuition as a valuable piece of your life, like an active, valuable piece of your life, where you can have a feeling about something, trust the feeling, go with the feeling, and get good results. It's a time where you can tell the difference between the thing you're worried about and you thinking that you're having an intuitive hit, you know? So, you know, this deepening of this relationship. So when Jupiter went in retrograde, this could have sought to deepen this more, or the progress that was made, you could have gotten off track. But whatever it is, Jupiter is going direct now. It could bring enhanced social possibilities, as well as Ceres, the Sun, and Mercury moving through Aquarius can enhance the social possibilities this month. But Jupiter in this 12th house is really deepening your desire for this sacred space. And, it does lead back to home. It does lead back to whether it's a sacred space within yourself through meditation and prayer and spiritual development and psychological healing, or whether it's, making your home a sanctuary or carving out a place of your living circumstance to be yours, even if it's a corner of the house, even if it's one little table of something where you're carving something out that every time you see it, you feel like, okay, this is my anchor. And it really is very much about developing anchors. And Saturn is here, in the sign of Pisces. You see, Jupiter is moving through the house of Pisces, and Saturn is moving through the sign of Pisces. So it's seeking to expand and to ground in that experience for you. Mars, moving forward, can definitely start to take the edge off of the unclarity that may have been going on with some family things. You may have been having some things move slowly. You may be having to put the brakes on things involving home and family. As much expansion as has happened, Mars being in retrograde is definitely going to be different than it going direct this month. So a big waking up and moving on at some point soon from this place where you may have come to love it in certain ways, but you may be also very glad that it's gone and you can move on to other things. And when it moves into Leo, it's going to now focus fully on expanding your finances. Okay, so that is coming soon. While we're on the topic of Leo, let's talk about that full moon at 24 degrees of Leo on the 12th, because that is happening in your money sector. That is bringing fullness, completion, fruition, possibly drama, awareness, elucidation to your money and your finances and how you earn money and your financial IQ and your financial consciousness. So you may get a really good insight into what is interfering with your next level of abundance and how you can heal that. I'm not going to talk a ton about how the eclipses may manifest in this report. I'll talk about that more in March, but if you want a sneak peek about that, go to anniehelpsyou.com. And in the welcome letter that you get, I have my eclipse resource page that is just for my free VIP community. So in there, you can see, it basically shows you where both the eclipses are going to be for your placements. And I have resources to direct you to for wherever it's going to be. So it's like a little guide to help you understand how the eclipses may manifest and the dates and the timelines and when they've happened before and how long they're going on for. So it's a really good way to really understand the eclipses. But what we need to know about in this report is that we're in eclipse season. So big news, big changes in the me and we sector, big changes in the Pisces Virgo sector, which is your ethereal realm and your practical world, your daily reality and your magical landscapes of your mind. All of those things are coming back front and center. And you may see major news and progress or momentum or information or events happening at this time. I've given you a lot of dates. If you want more dates, when you go to anniehelpsyou.com and you put your name, email address in, click receive, you'll get the archive link in the welcome letter. Go put in February 2025 in the search bar, and halfway down the February 2025 astrology report, you'll find the sweet and salty dates. And the second half of the newsletter is diving into my favorite dates, the ones to be most awareful and careful of, etc. You also get all of my content early when you join my free VIP community, and you get the eclipse resource page, the retrograde resource page, the zodiac health tips, my 28-day virtual coaching program, and more. Special promos, things that the public never sees. But maybe one of the most important things that I want to talk about as to why it would be great for you to join this community at anniehelpsyou.com is because YouTube has been seriously running more and more interference over time with me messaging you directly. So whether it's an important aspect or an insight that I think of that I want to share, or posting content, which I've been weekly, YouTube is no longer notifying people very regularly, even if you're subscribed and you like and you enable notifications and you click the bell. I mean, those things can help you to see me on your homepage, but they're not a guarantee. And YouTube is taking a lot of liberties with breaking that bond between us where I can connect with you directly. And I'm really sad about it because, I've been with YouTube almost since the beginning of when they really started to get going. And I just don't think it's very nice what they're doing. But I'm not going to get into that or belabor it. I just want to tell you that if you're missing content from me and you're not seeing me post weekly, and you want to see me post weekly and get, stay connected to me directly, go to anniehelpsyou.com, stay on this VIP in access, and that is the best way to stay connected. If you're going to listen to the Leo report now because you're late degree friends, then great, go on to that. If you're going to move on to another placement because you know your placements, great. If you don't know your other placements, search online for how to run a free birth chart. I really want to help you expand how you use astrology. And I teach in all of my reports. So you can make the most of what I offer you by knowing your chart better. So you can search for how to run a free birth chart online. If you know your birth time, date, and location, you can get a chart run that will show your rising sign and your moon. Then you can go back and also listen to the time-stamped reports for those things for yourself. And if you're not doing any of these things, then you're signing off. I'll see you soon. Bye for now. Hello, Leo friends. Here we are now going to deep dive into what the factors for this month astrologically look like in your Leo chart specifically for you. This is for you if Leo is your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, or any other Leo placement you're listening for. What I'm going to talk about here is part of your astrological picture. And for very late degree Leo friends, so birthdays like August 15th through the rest of the sign, or Leo degrees like 23 degrees through the rest of the sign, I suggest you additionally listen to my Virgo placement or my Virgo report because your very late degree friends will benefit from both readings. So let's look at this energy of the tsunami of change and just talk about some ways that this can manifest. So the astrological configuration of having so much water, transiting North Node, New Moon, Venus, Neptune, Saturn, and then Ceres, the Sun and Mercury will get into water as the month goes on. Plus the activators of being in eclipse season, plus the activator of Jupiter going direct and Mars going direct, those combining with the energies of this massive showing of water can bring the tsunami of change. So some ways we may see this are emotionally, through old wounds resurfacing for healing. This is kind of a thing of the retrogrades, but it's also a thing of the water energy. And, it doesn't really go very well overall with fire energy. So it's something to know about this month, that while there will be amazing chances to heal and connect and, dive spiritually deep into any number of topics and possibilities, from the perspective of your Leo self, this is going to be very dousing. Now, if you've been tired and overextended and, just kind of burnt out, this could be supportive and healing to you. And maybe that could be very positive. If you're trying to continue doing Leo like Leo does Leo, then this is going to show up and, it could be a little bit of a nuisance. But we do have Mars going into Leo. We do have a full moon in Leo. We do have Venus going into fire sign Aries, which we'll talk about all that later. But just to kind of let you know, there are other things that are happening besides this water story. But, but this water story is definitely going to be dousing. Some other ways that the tsunami of change can show up are spiritually. So intuition and dreams can be heightened. They can offer profound insights into your life's purpose and direction. And this transiting North Node entering Pisces and, staying in this arena for years now, it's a new entrance in, is going to be very much about the keys that we're finding for our highest expression this lifetime is going to hold some sort of Piscean message or some sort of Piscean piece. So starting to explore that through this very excessive Pisces time is going to be opening up something for you that will be carrying on for a while. The tsunami of change can also manifest creatively. You may feel inspired to pour your heart into artistic or imaginative pursuits or fantastical experiences, anything like that. And really, bring your visions to life. It can also occur relationally. So you can expect deep, soul-stirring conversations and connections that encourage you to be vulnerable and authentic. And a lot of this is coming from this Pisces energy actually being in your 8th house, which is a fellow water sign house, and really relates to deep, intimate relationships, So you've got all of the connection of the water energy of Pisces in the house of Scorpio. You can also see the tsunami of change manifest practically. So with Saturn and the North Node in Pisces, it's not just about feeling. It's really about turning your spiritual revelations into concrete steps, that will help you move forward. Some of the impacts that you might see is riding the wave of inspiration, intuition, creativity, mysticism, prayer, connectedness. This is a moment to trust the flow and really surrender to the divine path and the divine messages. Synchronicity could get very, very loud at this time. You may also see when this wave comes, when the energy reaches its peak, you could have these sudden insights or transformative shifts in anything in your life, including your emotional well-being. And the aftermath of all of this can look like a shoreline that's reshaped by the tides. You could emerge from this really with a sense of clarity and purpose and alignment. How someone will be after, something very big that goes on is really hard to tell. It affects, these things can affect different people in different ways. But one example, literally of major water and the changes was when I saw, after Hurricane Milton hit my area, there was profound devastation. And some places were transformed in not very positive ways at all. But within the chaos and within the wreckage, there were actually some places that wound up with more beach instead of less. And there was this like restructuring, this taking of sand from certain places and putting it into other places. And some of that, did not go well. But some of it did, where now certain beaches are now more protected because they're larger than before. And there's more space for people to play and to be on the beach. And I'm not saying in any way that these storms were a good thing, because this has just been a terrible problem. But since this happened, and since we can't do anything about that, the fact that it's happened, similar to any other emotional storms that may come with us personally, there can be things that we can see lemonade from, even if we wouldn't have chosen to have done them if we had the choice. And you may notice this as well, so having all of this water energy at this awkward angle for Leo means you're going to probably go through something emotionally, or somebody close to you is going to go through something and you will be holding space for them. But whatever it is can definitely restructure and build shoreline where it wasn't before, and can leave you open to possibilities that weren't available before all of this happened. So, in general, the tsunami of change is not about destruction. It's about rebirth. And hopefully this will, bring you out into be a brighter and bolder version of your experience and your destiny. Okay, so now let's talk about some transits that speak your language more, and just kind of get into that. And I'll build up to my favorite parts as we go, because then we'll leave off on a nice positive note. I don't want to not tell you the types of things that could happen, because I want you to be prepared for it. That's the point of me doing these reports. Something else that's going on at this time is we do have a lot of Aquarius energy. So before Mercury and the Sun and Ceres get over into the 8th house for Leo, into Pisces, and join this big Pisces party, you are having your opposing sign activated. So these are creating oppositions for you. And this is possibly causing your relationship to need more attention. And you might have to keep more balls up in the air, but you could also find a chord or find a solution to a problem, or be involved in very fruitful relationship projects. Sometimes this push and pull where you need things and the people in your life need things, it's pulling in both directions. That will be happening. But sometimes from you managing all of those balls, you feel like, wee, I got all the balls in the air, yay. And that feeling, if you've ever juggled, I'm not going to say that I'm a fabulous juggler, but I will say that that I have learned and I have had some balls up in the air. And it feels really good. It's like, whoa, what am I doing? Look what I'm doing. It's up in the air. Like, somebody look quick before they all fall, right? But you may reach that. You may reach this zone where you kind of have everything going in a really good way. So that's a possibility. And in general, these energies are air signs. So take away the fact that they're in opposition to you and just look at the fact that they can bring these, these conversations, these meetings of the mind, these, connections that have value, these intellectual understandings, and this feeling of being involved in community and support from the community and news from the community and sustenance from the community, where you're either adding to that or you're taking part in it or receiving it in some way. So it's a very beautiful flow there. Okay, so then Venus very soon in the month will go into Aries, and that energy will flood your ninth house with these other long-term planets, Chiron, Eris, long-term. Faster moving Hygeia is also there, then Venus will be there, and this is your adventure sector. This is the place where you can really look beyond what's in front of you and look with all around you, a full 360 view, like from a mountaintop, at your life, at problems, at solutions, and just as adventure. You may get out and do something fun that you've been wanting to do. You may expand your learning or teaching, or you may expand in your international reach. Those type of things can go on. Very inspiring, and it's fire, so it speaks your language, and that is good. And what else is great about that is that the predominance of the Venus retrograde is going to be in Venus and Aries. It will duck back briefly into Pisces, but the predominance of it, pretty much from now in February into the beginning of June, is in fire. So having Venus, ruler of love and beauty and relationships and money and design and self-esteem, in fellow fire sign for an extended period of time is definitely something that can bring long-term boosts to all of those areas of your life. Then Mars is going to get into Leo, not quite yet, not until next month. Actually, it's not going to get there until April. So Mars is going to turn direct in Cancer and has a little bit more work to do in the home and family sector, in your 12th house of Pisces, which we talked about all those things, so a little bit more work on the inside realms. And then in April, you will have a proper forward moving tour, back again to catch those things, those lessons and those things that you worked with through the retrograde, and to really blast them forward in wonderful ways. Then in the days around the 12th, we're going to have that full moon, your full moon, at 24 degrees. Fullness, completion, fruition, drama, being in the limelight, being noticed, being recognized, something with your physical health or your body, something with children, romance, dating, bucket list, all that stuff can come to fruition and fulfillment. There's always a timeline potential of 13 moons when we're talking about moons. So things that have been building up for the last 13 moons and may build up for the next 13 moons also can have a connection here. So it's not just the 28 to 29 day cycle that's at play here with a full moon. It's a story of things that have been building over time and that may build more. So things that happen now may carry special significance from the past or for the future. Jupiter's waking up, and along with it, social connections, writing projects, communication, and short distance travel, and devices and vehicles. All of that may start to move forward in some way, as may this Aquarius energy again. So you have all the Aquarius energy we talked about with the Sun and Mercury and Ceres, and even Pluto, which is now there for 20 years. But Jupiter waking up in your 11th house of Aquarius may pick up some things where they left off in like October or so. So if you had some friendships or group projects or community projects or something like that kind of trail off, you may notice that they pick up now in a big way. I'm not going to talk about the eclipses too much this month. I'll go into that more in March. But if you want a sneak peek into how the eclipses are hitting for your placements, when they've happened before, what kinds of things to expect, check out my eclipse resource page, which is a gift you get when you sign up for my free email newsletter at anniehelpsyou.com. It will be in the welcome letter, and it will show you lots about how to navigate the eclipses and what you need to know specifically for your placements. When you sign up at anniehelpsyou.com, which I hope that you do, because there are a lot of reasons why this is helpful for you. My eclipse resource page, my retrograde resource page, my zodiac health tips, my 28-day virtual coaching program, my write-up that includes my sweet and salty dates and my favorite dates of the month and the ones to be most awareful and careful of. There's also something else that's very important. Oh, you do also get all my content early. But one of the most important things on my mind right now is that we stay connected, because I've been doing YouTube for a very long time. I've consistently shown up for a very long time. And, you know, YouTube being my biggest venue is, has over time really been running a lot of interference with creators being able to connect with and give their personal messages um, to you, you know? So if I have a promo, if I think of something about a transit, if I'm posting content, you know, all the reasons why someone would subscribe to hear from me, YouTube has been running more and more interference and making it much more difficult for creators to actually connect with their subscribers and even connect with you through notes underneath the video. I don't know if you've noticed how difficult it is to find the notes underneath a video if you don't know where they are, especially on the mobile view. They've taken away our cards. I mean, it's really not good, and I'm not happy about it. But I'm Sagittarius. I'll make the most of it. I'll be positive. But the most important thing I want to do is just maintain our connection. So if you value my work and you want to stay connected, and if I have things that I want to let you know or offer or, you know, create, most of my work in the world is free, then the only way I can do it is by directly interacting with you, so I don't have to go through YouTube like being my chaperone here. So if you go to anniehelpsyou.com and you become part of my free VIP community, then that increases the chance that we can have a direct line of energy between us. And if you value my work, then that may have value to you. Okay, so if you're going on to listen to the Virgo report because you're a late Leo friend, great, that's coming next. If you have other placements you're going to listen for, you can find the timestamps in the notes underneath the YouTube video. There may be notes underneath the podcast. I don't know if my notes sync over to Spotify, but if you search for Annie Botticelli Buzzsprout podcast, then I do have the notes there on my home site where you can find the timestamps. And signing off now, then I'll see you soon. I have been posting weekly, and you will find out about all my posts when you sign up here at anniehelpsyou.com. Bye for now. Hello, Virgo friends. Welcome to the deep dive into the perspective of the stars for your sign. This is building on the intro that I've already given you, and this is for you if Virgo is your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, or any other Virgo placement you're listening for. What I'm going to talk about here is part of your astrological picture. Very late degree Virgo friends, so birthdays like September 15th through the rest of the sign, or 23 degree Virgo placements onwards. I suggest you additionally listen to my Libra report because you very late degree friends will benefit from both readings, and that report will follow this one. Okay, so let's talk about some of the things that we talked about in the intro, except now through the lens of the Virgo chart. I'll add in some other things we haven't discussed. So the big star of the show here this month really has to do with this tsunami of change that's coming from a number of different sources. We've got transiting North Node, new moon and Venus, Neptune, Saturn, and then later in the month, Ceres, the Sun, and Mercury, all moving through Pisces. Okay, and this not only is water energy, it's also the energy opposing your sign, so it always has special significance because that's your other part here, you know. So this is very significant. It is in opposition for you, so it is activating that me-we sector, as is the remaining Aries Libra eclipse that is happening in March, but we're feeling now because we're in eclipse season. You're getting things restructured in your relationships. There's no doubt about that. And there's this dynamic between the me versus we times two, because the second eclipse is going to be in Virgo, your sign. So I will talk about this more in March, but because it is your sign and we are in eclipse season, we'll also speak to it there. So the tsunami of change is not only coming from like a massive amount of one sign of energy, because that on enough just on its own, you know, is excessive and can bring this tsunami of change. But we also have Mars going direct after a while of being retrograde. We have Jupiter going direct after a while of being retrograde. And then we have eclipse season. Okay, so eclipse season is going to put that eclipse right in your first house. And, you know, and is part two in a very long cycle that goes into 2027 of really radically changing how you relate to the world, how you relate to your inner world and your outer world, and the practical and the spiritual, and yourself versus other people. This storyline is going to be very, very strong, very, very powerful. And the changes may come quickly, especially now that these planets are moving direct and that we have this eclipse energy. So where might you see the changes? What types of changes might you see? With the Pisces energies, you might have sudden enlightenment or transcendence above an issue. There could be sudden karma clearing. This seventh house, it looks like it's the eighth house here, but all of this really is in the seventh house. And it's not only the transiting North Node, which is your area of highest expression this lifetime, there's basically just this karmic tilt here. So you definitely can clear up and in negative karma and activate positive karma and have things that you've done finally come back to you. All right. And this can come in the form of enlightenment and transcendence. This can come through divine connection and dream work, vivid dreams, active lucid dreams, spiritual awakening, connection to the web that creates all of life, universal love, fine-tuning intuition, telling the difference between intuition and fear, and putting that to practical usage, mysticism and soul alignment and healing energies, and all of it centered around your relationship with others and your relationship with yourself. Okay, so this is, the big story that's happening here. Now, before Mercury, the Sun, and Ceres get in to join that Pisces party, we do have your health and your daily work and your pet house being aspected. And of course, Pluto there now for 20 years. That's a big story continuing here. So, you may have some radical changes, a tsunami of change in your daily experience. Things that you did every day might radically change. You may have a new schedule. Things are different around you, new surroundings, things like that. Some other things that can get activated have to do with boundless creativity and how you bring out that creativity. Virgo can be very practical, but we're more than just our sun sign or our one sign that you're watching for. And, we're so many different things. We're all the signs. We have all of the ingredients of our person pie includes some of each of the signs, just in a different ratio. And right now with all of this excess Pisces, there is this artistic vision, this inspired expression, this imagination, visionary ideas, and the relationships that can help you put them through. Synchronicity and being in the flow, like poetry in motion, dreamy innovation, It could be very romantic, and that could be the combination of the relationships with the Pisces, or you could be meeting with other people who enjoy the fantastical. Maybe they're into a book series that you're into, someplace where you're meeting with others and you're diving deep into these other realms. Could have to do with music, could have to do with cinema. It could have to do with any version of something that moves you emotionally. The chance for heart-centered connections is expanded dramatically, and the chance for healing wounds within relationships and collaborative inspiration are all supercharged at this time. Something that is maybe a really big storyline for you in the short term and long term is letting go of perfection. And this is a really difficult thing for some Virgo placements, just easing the self-criticism, embracing imperfection in yourself and others, restoring the balance, accepting psychic downloads, even if they're not logical and don't make sense, those kind of things. You may find the tsunami of change occurring now puts you in a situation where you're spending more time in meditation or ritual or praying or meditating, just basically the transcendent, not the daily mundane. Jupiter has been slumbering and it will wake up. He will wake up this month, and this is going to activate your work and career and your place in the world. Most people have their place out in the world in their work and career and employment. There are people who don't have to make money or who already did that or are retired. And for you, or even for the working people, this can have to do with your place out in the world with political things like community things or passion project things or anything like that. But this is a house of your parents and your relationships with them, you as a parent. This, really has a lot of strong roots in what you're using your talents towards and receiving exchange for it, whether it's the fulfillment or whether it's, money. So if you've been having trouble finding a job, Jupiter moving direct and Mars moving direct may be your best friend. So be hopeful, and if you have been kind of stalling out or not inspired with your work, then those things may return and you may get clarity about that as well. The Aquarius energy that is coming through Mercury, the Sun, and Ceres is being additionally supercharged by the fact that Mars is waking up in your 11th house of Aquarius. So you may find yourself more motivated to connect with other people, to brainstorm, to network, to have community-based experiences. This may be a time where you're doing stuff with technology, internet-based projects. But a lot of things are going to come alive. And as they come alive, certain other things may go sleepy because Venus is going to go into Aries, and then it's going to go retrograde. And that's all going to happen actually in your 8th house. And it's going to spend a long time in your 8th house because the retrograde is going to be predominantly in Aries. It will duck back into Pisces as well. But either way, both of those stories have to do with Venus retrograding in your relationship house. And it does rule relationships. It rules the 7th house. So, you're in for a lot of backwards motion in your relationships, but that doesn't have to be a bad thing. That can be a really good thing. You can have life breathe back in your relationships. You can have money coming back to your relationship. You can have energy and love and attention and focus coming back into your relationship. So you'll have a very strong, extra strong relationship focus this Venus retrograde cycle because of the fact that it's moving through your relationship houses and not just the planet that rules those, those energies. In the days around the 12th, we'll have that full moon at 24 degrees of Leo. Fullness, completion, fruition, drama, coming to things involving children, romance, dating, true love, your bucket list, etc. And it's activating your house of Pisces. So guess what? Everywhere you look at it, not getting out of this. So elucidation in your subconscious realms. If you're not into inner work, this may be a time where you get into inner work. And if you are into inner work, then, your focus may become very deep and profound, and you may have wonderful breakthroughs. Eclipse season may bring you major trajectory shifts, like you're going in a certain direction and then whoop, now you're going this way or something like that. So that's going to be ripe for possibility all month and into March and then also into April. And this could definitely be very life-changing. And it definitely will be very emotional. And that's, the other thing to remember about this Pisces energy, and then Juno and Scorpio and Vesta and Scorpio and Mars and Cancer. It's very emotional. Earth energies can tend to hold the emotional energy, right? Because you're in a pair, the earth and water, they blend well together. They're complementary. But there is an excess of this. So whether it's your emotion or whether it's someone else's emotion, it's going to be a tsunami of change in the emotional realm, and the changes that are happening may be very emotional, for better or worse. So you can see more about the eclipses at anniehelpsyou.com. When you sign up there, you can get the welcome page and into your inbox, and then you'll find the eclipse resource page. So I have a bunch of stuff on the retrogrades, actually, yeah, because you get my retrograde resource page too, and the eclipses and zodiac health tips. So you can see more about those things if you want to deepen your understanding of this month. Also very, very, very important is that YouTube has been very actively with an ongoing increase in interfering with me connecting with my subscribers. It's not just me, it's all, most content creators are noticing that over time YouTube is taking out any ways we can personally interact with you and, have our own thing going on. And I'm not happy about it, but I'm also not complaining. I'm a Sagittarius and I will look at the bright side. But my reason for mentioning this is that I have been posting weekly, and I suspect that most of you may not know that, because even if you subscribe, click the bell, and enable the notifications, which now they're making you do like 4 things to even have a chance of getting my stuff into your homepage. I'm hearing that even with all of that, sometimes people are still not seeing my posts in their homepage because YouTube has an agenda. They're in this mortal combat with another company that they're competing with, and they have an agenda to try to fill your homepage with the things that are going to help them reach certain metrics. And that may or may not have anything to do with what you have asked to have in your homepage from the people you've subscribed to, including me. So if you want to not miss anything from me, going to AnnieHelpsYou.com and becoming part of my free VIP community will help us to stay connected now and, for a long time to come, just directly without having, you two acting like my mom and trying to chaperone. So, not only do you get lots of free goodies, but if you value my work and you don't want to miss anything from me and you want to make sure that if I think of something important, like sometimes I'll post something on my YouTube page as a post and I'll get very small response. And it's not because what I posted wasn't interesting or good or helpful. It's because YouTube is not showing those notifications to the vast majority of the 150,000 people who have said that they want that, right? So I don't want you to miss anything. And, as I'm posting new content weekly, you may be missing it, but you won't miss it if you're at this in my VIP community, which you can sign up for at AnnieHelpsYou.com. Okay, so if you're now moving on because you're a later degree placement and you're going to listen to the Libra report, that's coming up next. If you're going to listen to another report because you have different placements, you can find the timestamps under the More button underneath the video on the podcast. If it's on my Buzzsprout page, Annie Botticelli Buzzsprout, you'll see my notes there. I don't know if those notes copy over to Spotify, which is my biggest podcast venue. But that's where you can find them if you're looking for them. And if you don't know your placements, you can look online for how to run a free birth chart, run your birth chart, and then come back. And then every month when I give you all this info, you can go deeper into your chart. So bye for now, and I'll see you soon. Okay, bye. Hello, Libra friends. Okay, so now we're going to dive into looking at the starry configurations from the perspective of the Libra chart to see some specific types of experiences that the tsunami of change of all of these Pisces energies can bring for you. This is building upon what I talked about in the intro, but it's going to be added to from the lens of Libra, and I'm sure I'll talk about other things that I didn't mention as I'm looking at the chart here. This is for you if Libra is your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, or any other Libra placement you're listening for. What I'm going to talk about here is part of your astrological picture. And you very late degree Libra friends, so birthdays like October 15th through the rest of the sign, or Libra degrees 23 degrees through the rest of the sign. I suggest you additionally listen to my Scorpio report, as you very late degree friends will benefit from both readings, and the Scorpio report will follow this report, so you can just keep listening straight through. So the tsunami of change that can be coming from this transiting north node, Venus, Neptune, Saturn, and then later in the month, Ceres, the Sun, and Mercury. Plus, we have the new moon, which will come back around by the end of the month and be back in Pisces, 27th, all as part of this tsunami of change. Now, add to that, we've got Juno in Water Scorpio, Vesta in Water Scorpio, and Mars going direct in Water Cancer. So you can see it really is a water festival. So this means a bunch of different things. Let's look at it in layers. We talked about the types of things that planets moving through Pisces can bring in the intro. This focus on the subconscious mind and the dreamy, the ethereal, the uplifting into higher consciousness, connection with the inner and higher realms. Specifically, all of this energy is going to move through the 6th house for Libra. So this can bring the tsunami of change in your daily experience, your work sector, your home sector. It's a sweeping transformation of your everyday life. It's not really about small tweaks. It's about big change that can completely realign your habits and your purpose and your well-being with your soul's higher purpose. So this combination of the Pisces energy calling you to higher octaves, and the daily grind and your daily experience of Virgo is combining to bring this dreamlike depth to the profound opportunities to help you heal and evolve and create a life that you love on a day-to-day basis. You may notice that you can uplift your work to become more purposeful. You may feel more soul driven or driven to create work that feels aligned with your soul. And if you're already doing work like that, you can have that tremendously amplified. This tsunami of change could come in the form of revamping your career. You could have a sudden realization or an opportunity, and this may pull you towards something that has more meaning for you, and something, that either is in the healing arts or is, makes you feel aligned, which could be something completely different. It could involve creative projects, spiritual pursuits, compassionate service, or just something that makes you feel like you're using your gifts and your creativity in better ways. This can also have to do with art and music and things like that. It can also create a situation, the tsunami of change can sweep in to bring more beauty to the mundane, a more ethereal quality or artistry or harmony or soulful inspiration to your daily tasks, making them more mindful, making them more enjoyable, making them more moment to moment, and being where you are rather than thinking about the past and the future. It can also make them more productive, strangely, and more deeply fulfilling. So, your day-to-day is really what's being worked on here. It also may give you a chance to do work collaborations with kindred spirits. Having Neptune here combined with Venus can bring spirituality to your work and spirituality to your relationships. And you may find that you're seeing people more that you have a spiritual connection with on a day-to-day basis. It can also revolutionize your health and wellness routine. You can say goodbye to habits that have been draining you, and you can embrace habits that feel nourishing and restorative. And that's really what this energy is about, yoga, mindful eating, energy work, positive frequencies, really changing the environment that you spend your day-to-day in. For some people, this is going to open up alternative healing or exploring, alternative healing opportunities. So it could bring a curiosity about these things, or an openness or an amplification of the use of these things. You also may notice that doing emotional or energetic cleansing every day might become more of a habit. The auric field is not a metaphysical thing only. Okay, so in metaphysics we discuss these types of things, but it's actually a scientific reality, and these can be measured now. So you have things build up in your field, and once you really clear about that, then you understand you have to clear that field the same way you brush your teeth and the same way you take a shower, that there is an energy field that you can clear, and that awareness may start to infiltrate your daily experience, as well as a heightened sensitivity that can make you more attuned to the things that you feel around you and what your body really needs. This is a health house, so it's very much centered around your health and your well-being. There could also be a line of energy here that has to do with spiritual awakening through service. The sixth house is very much a service house, also could be called the Mother Teresa house. Not everyone will have it manifest this way, but it definitely could, the tsunami energy could sweep away, simply transactional and uninspired forms of service, and wind up replacing them with this, a more soulful connection to helping others. Something like sacred service, that feels more emotionally, spiritually fulfilling. You could take a whole different viewpoint of the job that you have now. You could start to see that even if you're not exactly where you need to be, you're exactly where you're supposed to be at that moment. And there's a reason for that. When I was working in the pharmaceutical business a long time ago, before I knew about any alternative healing or anything like that, I would find that, patients, when I was sitting in the waiting room, would come up to me and just start talking to me about their problems. It's just an energy field that I have always held, and I started to realize that that is what they really needed help with. And that was factoring into their physical health, which is, why I changed directions and started to get into energy work and, the types of things that I do now. But once I started to realize that what I wanted to do, I realized I still needed to be where I was and that there was purpose, and that with every person I interacted with in that setting, even though my heart was moving into a different line of work for how I made money, I was still there fulfilling a spiritual purpose, even though I was still doing work that wasn't feeling as aligned for me at that time. And so you may find this, you may find that you can reach a different level or reach a different perspective without changing where you are or what you're doing at all. You're just seeing it differently. And of course, seeing things differently can completely change how you experience them. You know, all of this activity going on here can have to do with boundaries, needing more or being more open, redefining balance, and, you know, specifically in your give and take, how it relates to your health. You may all of a sudden become acutely aware of how the things that you offer to other people, how much it's taking from you, and that you're not able to replenish that. And you may, you know, shift accordingly. So overall, it's a time of very much inspired productivity. You know, you can use dream work as guidance. You can enhance your artistic skills. There's just, you know, so many different ways that this can manifest. And while I could spend all day talking about how the tsunami of change can relate to all of this water energy as it relates to Pisces, I also want to talk about some of the other water placements and some of the other things going on at this time. Part of what makes this energy so powerful is not just that there's so much of it, although that's definitely a piece. It's also because Mars is waking up. Jupiter is waking up. And these planets can help to make manifest the ethereal things that are happening on the deeper levels. So we have Vesta and Juno in Scorpio, and those are both in your house of money. So there could be some important collaborations financially that come in. And Mars moving forward in your house of work is definitely going to help employment or work projects. If you have been really in this deep seeking process since September, as you may have been, as to what kind of work you want to do, what career, what future you want, the 6th house of your daily work and the 10th house of your career are uniting in this activity at this time. And there is this strong energy of, you know, of trine also. So as these water energies come into mathematical alignment here, Saturn and Mars and, you know, the other things we're looking at, this is a process of taking action on these inner deeper feelings, you know. And so Mars moving forward is going to help you with that. So things that may have slowed down in September, October, you may notice that they start to ramp up again, and you may notice that you get really focused on work and career and employment. And if those aren't things that are relevant to your daily life, if you're retired, you know, or you're independently wealthy, or for whatever reason you don't have to work, this could be something involving your public image, you know, with how people know you. This could be passion projects. Could be you in the community. And certainly even employed people can have those manifestations as well. Okay, with Jupiter waking up, the energy of Sagittarius and your 9th house are going to become alive again. If you have been working on immigration projects or learning different languages or trying to plan an international trip or an international move or international travel, and things may have slowed down, you may notice that they ramp up very quickly. And even January, you know, before it goes direct, you might start to see signs of this. February, things can really start moving forward. Also, in a teaching or learning program, maybe you have lost steam, or maybe you've lost inspiration or lost direction, and Jupiter going direct may breathe life back into those type of projects for you. Jupiter in Gemini is in fellow air sign. So the whole year of May 2024 to June 2025 has extra blessings from Jupiter's perspective, and Jupiter is the great benefic. Jupiter not only protects us astronomically, so really because of its gravitational forces, protects the planets that are closer to the sun from Jupiter, including us, from having more activity from asteroids and, you know, different flying pieces of matter. It does protect us astronomically. That astronomical truth has carried over into the mythology and the understanding of Jupiter in the astrological translation. So it also can be protective. And when you have it in a nice aspect like this, it can offer you more protection in those type of endeavors. only get 1 year with Jupiter in any given sign or house. So if you're trying to do something along the lines of teaching and learning and international things, take really good advantage of this, because, you know, it won't come back for a while, and you can make a lot of headway in this period of time. So one of the other major activators at this time is that we are in eclipse season, and this is of special importance for Libra placements because this eclipse cycle is the last of the Aries Libra eclipses that started in 2023. So now we've had 2 years of reshuffling around your me and we sector, renegotiating all of your relationships with yourself and others, and really trying to lead to more autonomy and independence at the same time as interdependence and deeper relationships. So we've got a final chapter here, and March 29th is when that solar eclipse at 9 degrees of Aries, your opposing sign here, is going to happen. And that's going to happen in your relationships, opening up new possibilities and new chapters there and sealing off, to the next level, this storyline that's been going on for 2 years. So that's all I'm going to say about the eclipses for now. I will talk about them more in March, but definitely go to anniehelpsyou.com, sign up for my free VIP community. Not only do you get all of my content early, but you'll get my eclipse resource page. And on that page, I explain where each sign will have the eclipses, including the Pisces Virgo one, which is also in effect right now. Because remember, even though the eclipses aren't until March, eclipse season is 4 to 8 weeks before. So February is fully in eclipse season, and you're going to see continuation of the Pisces Virgo story. So you can check out the eclipse resource page, and I also have my retrograde resource page and lots of stuff there. If you value my work and you want more of it, joining my free VIP community is the best way to get more. You get my monthly written star report with my sweet and salty dates. The way you access that is you sign up for the newsletter at anniehelpsyou.com. You get the welcome letter. The archive link is there in blue font. And then you click into the archive in the search bar, just put February 2025. And then midway down that newsletter, you'll see the sweet and salty dates, and the whole second half of the newsletter is dedicated to my favorite dates and the ones to watch out for. But there's something else closer to my heart even as to why I'm hoping that you sign up for my newsletter. And that is because, if you resonate with my work, of course, that is because YouTube has, over time, I've been a YouTuber for a long time. I've consistently delivered content without fail for over 12 years. I'm very dedicated to you all. I see you all as my friends, and I want to help you with the things that I know. And and I'm a very positive person, so I'm going to keep it on the positive tilt here. But I don't know how aware everyone is of the things that YouTube has been doing sort of to run interference between content creators and their subscribers. So they're making it very difficult for me to connect with you directly without them more or less chaperoning. So of course, as a self-employed person for 25 years, I have not enjoyed that. Yes, I haven't enjoyed, being self-employed only to wind up having YouTube act like my mom and tell me who I can connect with. Yeah. So point is that if you like my content and you're not getting my content every week when I'm posting it, please go to anniehelpsyou.com, sign up for my free VIP newsletter, because I will notify you when I have my new content weekly. And I have been posting weekly, but I've been hearing from my subscribers that even if you click like, subscribe, click the bell, enable notifications, that it's not necessarily putting me in your feed, because YouTube has an agenda with your homepage to direct you towards metrics to try to win a battle that they're having with TikTok. So, what they're putting there is more about what they want you to see more than necessarily what you want to see. And the only way I can make sure to get my content to you is to have a direct relationship with you, like I used to have before they started putting all of these controls on it. So that's the best way. So, all right, if you're a late degree friend and you're going to go on now and listen to the Scorpio report, that is coming next. If you're listening for another sign, for your moon or rising or whatever else, then that's timestamped below. Click on the ... more and then more again. And you'll see the timestamps. For podcast friends, on my Buzzsprout site, Annie Botticelli Buzzsprout, it's in the notes underneath each podcast. I don't know if those sync over to Spotify. So if they don't, then I'm sorry about that. But yeah, that's how you would find that. So look out for my content around weekly, and I'll see you in the next report. Okay, bye. Hello, Scorpio friends. Okay, so now we're going to look at this energy of the tsunami of change, of this big watery showing as it relates to the Scorpio chart, looking through the lens of the Scorpio experience. So we'll drill down into what is specific to Scorpio about these general transits. And we'll talk about other things that I didn't mention in the intro, and we'll apply the things I talked about in the intro to your chart. This is for you if Scorpio is your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, or any other Scorpio placement you're listening for. What I'm going to talk about here is part of your astrological picture. If you're a very late degree Scorpio friend, so birthdays like November 15th through the rest of the sign, or Scorpio degrees 23 degrees through the rest of the sign, I suggest you listen to my Sagittarius report, as your very late degree friends will benefit from both readings, and that reading will follow this one directly, so you can just keep listening straight through. Okay, so the planets that we talked about, Neptune, or transiting North Node, Neptune, Venus, the new moon on the 27th, Saturn, and then later in the month, Ceres and the Sun and Mercury will move from Aquarius into Pisces and join that water party. Plus Mars in water, going direct, activating everything. And then we've got Vesta in Scorpio and Juno in Scorpio. So this is all a very major water party. Some of these placements are making beautiful aspects even with each other. Some of them are making beautiful aspects directly with your, well, actually all of them are making, aspects with Scorpio placements. So this is a big water trine party, which is the most fabulous, positively sacred geometrical formation that we have in our starry connections. And this is wonderful. So it can bring nothing less than a creative renaissance that is just this pending creative explosion for Scorpio. So, the waves of change are crashing into your life and maybe really nothing short of just complete and total. It's like a cosmic permission slip to live more boldly and love more deeply and create more fearlessly and prolifically. Because this fifth house is the house of true love and romance and children. And it is the house of your creative endeavors, your talents. And, it's something that can really help coax out your inner artist and your romantic visionary and your passionate self in ways you've never imagined. If you're wanting to have a baby, this is really great energy for that. If you're not wanting to have a baby, this is still very great energy for that. So a word to the wise can be maybe sufficient there. You are very fertile in all ways at this time. And it's, a very powerful manifestation force that you have going on now. Your already limitless imagination is going to be supercharged. You can dream bigger, create things that are just completely extraordinary. And those amazing, very deep, profound ideas that you have can start to come out in amazing ways. You can use art as healing. Neptune and Ceres are inviting you to use art, either as healing for you, like it's coming straight from your soul, or that you can use it to help other people. Also is highly romantic energy because Pisces is the idealist, the idealistic romantic, and the fifth house is the energy of true love and romance and dating and, your love relationships. So you may notice that some of your romantic daydreams are coming true. You may notice that the soulful connections are, extraordinarily improving and becoming amplified, because we are still working with some retrograde energy. Even though Mars is waking up, he's not going to be completely clear in moving direct until early May. And then Venus is, getting ready to go sleepy sleep. So there is this energy of going back to the past. So there could be a rekindling of playfulness and joy within your relationship and just with you as a person, a return to an easier time, where your inner child is happier, where the adulting that has gotten you down may wind up, becoming less of a burden. This is like a major celebration of life itself and childlike wonder and rediscovering joy and your bucket list and the things you've always wanted to do. So you may find that some things that you really, really, really want are going to start moving forward now. And it's not just Mars that's facilitating that. It's not just this tsunami of water. in great, aspect for you that's facilitating that, it's also Jupiter going direct in your water house of Scorpio. So romantic connections, financial connections, business collaborations, deep spiritual and psychological studies, tapping into your intuition, even stepping into the spotlight, because this fifth house that's getting flooded for you is the house of Leo. And that's very much about the spotlight. It can increase your presence to make it more magnetic. I think Scorpios have super magnetic presence to begin with. This is just part of what comes with having both Mars and Pluto as a ruler. My husband is a Scorpio. So I know those of you who've been with me a while, my husband and I have been together for longer than I've been doing YouTube. And sometimes I will come back and mention, how fascinating I think Scorpio energy is and how I get to watch how cool it is every day. And so you already have this magnetic presence, but it can be really, really, beefed up at this time. You may experience spiritual awakening through love and through passion, and romance can become more of a spiritual journey. Your creativity can become like a portal, connecting you with universal truths or connecting other people with universal truths. You can play as a path to healing. It's really, really exciting time for you to unleash joy. And actually, before I move on to the other things I want to talk about here, I'm just going to give you a couple of affirmations that you can play with. I am the creator of my joy and the architect of my dreams. That's a really nice one, right? Sometimes we feel powerless and like we can't, that we're succumbing to the forces around us, but you are the creator of your joy and you can be the architect of your dreams. Okay, maybe I'll give you one more. Through love and art and play, I leave a legacy that inspires. So you can really be creating something now that people can enjoy, for a very, very long time to come. Okay, so let's talk about the full moon. This is the only thing besides Jupiter being in the air sign, this is the only thing of the things we're discussing here that aren't in perfect matching sacred geometry for you. But that doesn't have to be a bad thing. We're activating the energy of Leo again. Okay, so we talked about the energy of Leo at length because the Pisces planets are activating your fifth house. So all of the Leo energy, the spotlight, the romance, all of this stuff is being activated through the Pisces transits. But also in the days around the 12th of February, we have the full moon at 24 degrees of Leo. So now we have more Leo energy. So some of these things could come to fruition in the days around the 12th. And you could find yourself in the spotlight. You could find yourself being acknowledged. You could find yourself, being recognized. Or you could find yourself having drama at work and it being a whole big thing. Or something that you have been working on at work could culminate in an exciting way, in a fulfilling way, or in a stressful way, because this is a square for you. This is the only thing that we've talked about that has this square configuration. And, it could be a little bit stressful. It could be a little bit dicey. You could have to do something, take action on something that's been coming to a head. Even for like a 13 moon cycle, this could have been coming to a head. Could be something that's been going on over the last month. We have some different timelines that go on with moon stories. So it could be something that was building over the last couple of weeks or the month, or it could be a 13 moon cycle, or what happens here could open things up for you for the next 13 months in your work, career, employment, recognition, passion projects, for money or not, father figure energy, or other important authority figures in your life. Something else to know about the 10th house, and this is something I've been describing it as recently. It's traditionally known as like the father house. It's ruled by Saturn, and Saturn has been like father, grandfather type of energy. But the way that I see it and the way that I've watched it manifest through, doing thousands of charts over decades is that Saturn is the skeleton and our structure. And other people can be our structure and our skeleton. So, that could be a mom, that could be some other figure who's not a father. But this house represents the people who are that structure for you, basically, or you being that structure for other people. So you may see something notable happen there. Okay, so the next thing is that something else that is a major activating force at this time is the eclipses. So March, we've got the two eclipses. We talked about those. The lunar eclipse at 23 degrees of Virgo on March 13th, 14th. The solar eclipse at 9 degrees of Aries on March 29th. The reason why we're talking about this now is because the heat of eclipse season starts 4 to even 8 weeks before. And certainly in February, we are well within that range. So things are getting heated up for manifestations of these eclipses. And the culmination of the Aries Libra eclipse cycle is coming. And the next chapter 2 in the Pisces Virgo eclipse cycle is coming. I will talk about that more next month when the eclipses are actually happening, but I wanted to mention it now because you will start seeing things go on in your relationships, big endings, big beginnings from the me, we, Aries, Libra. You will see Pisces Virgo storylines. Of course, we already talked at length about what Pisces energy can look like. And Virgo is the counterforce to that, which is, ethereal versus practical, and nebulous versus formed, and organized versus chaotic, and your inner world and your outer world, and logic and intuition. So all of those forces are going to be strengthening, and storylines are going to be continuing along these lines. That's going to be very strong and very hot this month for sure. So you can, when you listen to my March report, I'll talk more about that. You can also go to anniehelpsyou.com. Not only do you get all of my content for early, but you'll get in the welcome letter my eclipse resource page, which will give you videos based on your placements for how these can manifest. And so I have, 4 different videos for each person, basically, depending on your placement, because, you'll just see there's a lot there that you can get into if you want to understand these eclipses better. And also if you want to understand the retrogrades better, because I do have my retrograde resource page there too. But let's just talk a smidge about Venus retrograde. Venus is going to go retrograde, start out in Pisces, go into Aries, and spend the predominance of the time in Aries. Then it will go direct and come back, Anyway, it's going to be dancing between Pisces and Aries. Some things to know about Venus retrograde is that some things may start slowing down, of course, because Mars and Jupiter are moving forward. Some things may be actively moving forward. It's like a relay of stops and starts, because certain things will be, blazing, and then certain things will be going to sleep. So the more you can honor the flow, and instead of trying to force the things that are going to sleep to stay awake, you can just follow the things that are staying awake and being very awake, and you'll have a much easier time. This is just a very basic way to align with the natural rhythms of the universe. That is the point of my work, the focus of what I do. If you understand these rhythms, you can better appreciate and understand what you can do to have things be more easy for you. So some things from the past that worked may come back to all of the things that we talked about in the 5th house and Pisces energy, and then also in your health and your day-to-day work. So there may be some sort of restoration of something involving your work schedule or your career, like what you do on a day-to-day basis. It doesn't have to be career, but career relates to your daily experience if you're working every day. So you're going to see, a lot of questions being asked of, are you using your time making money efficiently? Are you doing your day-to-day work, in the ways that are most purposeful? A lot of questions about money, a lot of questions about relationships, but could also be, like I said, a renaissance of that type of. Okay, so I have been posting every week. If you are a YouTube subscriber and you're not getting my posts every week, it's because YouTube more and more over time has become like a chaperone to the content creators, where they're deciding who sees what when, rather than us just connecting directly with the people who have subscribed and who say, hey, we want to see your stuff. YouTube says, nope, they're going to pick what you see. And of course, I'm not happy about it, but whatever. Moving on and trying to be positive, just informing you that if you don't want to miss anything from me, the best way to do it is to just stay subscribed to my free VIP community. I'll post, send you something out weekly. It will have early content, all my content early. I make free things all the time for the public. I make even more free things for my community. At the welcome letter, you get my eclipse resource page, my retrograde resource page, my zodiac health tips, my 28-day virtual coaching program. And every month you get my monthly written star report with the sweet and salty dates. So I gave you a lot of dates in this report between the intro and this one, specific for Scorpios. But you'll get even more dates and understand the aspects and how they may affect you, with my favorite dates in the month and the ones to be most awareful and careful of in that write-up. So the way you find it When you go to anniehelpsyou.com, put your name and email address in, you get the welcome letter. You click on the archive link, which is in blue font. Then in the search bar, put February 2025. And then in that report, about halfway down, you'll see the sweet and salty date list. And then below that, the whole second half is going into the aspects that I most think you need to know about and what you can expect from them. So if you're a late degree friend and you're going on to listen to the Sag report, that's coming now. If you're going to use the timestamps to listen to one of your other placements, fantastic. For my monthly posts, I've been doing full moon, new moon, and usually some sort of surprise fourth thing. And so I'll see you soon in another report. Take care. Hello, Sagittarius friends. Okay, so this is the section that we're going to focus on looking at the current transits through the lens of the Sagittarius chart. We'll talk about the things that I mentioned in the intro, but through the lens of the Sagittarius chart and how those transits can manifest differently for you and how you can best use them and what things to watch out for. This is for you if Sagittarius is your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, or any other Sag placement you're listening for. What I'm going to talk about here is part of your astrological picture. If you're a very late degree friend, so birthdays like December 15th through the rest of the sign, which I am there with you, or Sagittarius placements 23 degrees through the rest of the sign, I suggest you additionally listen to my Capricorn report because your very late degree friends will benefit from both readings. You can just stay tuned after this report. The Capricorn report will come right on. Okay, so let's talk about this tsunami of change. Now, if you're a listener of mine and you have been since June of last year, you may recognize the title of this tsunami of change because I actually used this as the title for the June 2024, or not June, I'm sorry, September 2024 Sagittarius report because we were going to have the Pisces eclipse in the fourth house for Sagittarius. And at that time, I talked about water where it shouldn't be and this tsunami of change. And what proceeded to happen was multiple hurricanes that affected massive amounts of people in crazy ways, including myself as a Sagittarius there with you. So I am taking the title of that and applying it towards the general transits this time because of the potential of the powerful change to occur again. Now, I am hoping with you that it doesn't happen that way. And fortunately for us in the United States, at least, we're not in hurricane season now. So that's helpful. But that doesn't mean that water may not show up where it shouldn't be. Okay, so if you had any lessons to learn about insurance or anything like that, with water being where it shouldn't be, this is the time to prepare for those possibilities at this time. Broken pipes in the house, things like that. But there are so many more ways that this can manifest, and we're going to go into all of them, that I can think of at least. And there are also very positive potentials that can come from this time, and we're going to lean very heavily on the positive potentials while giving you the heads up about, the challenges that could come from this. Now, being a Sagittarius, I am an optimist, but having, a late degree Sag placement and a lot of Capricorn, I also, I'm an idealist and a realist. So I am going to start with the things that I'm concerned about for us at this time. If you, I don't want you to be nervous. I just want you to be prepared. And then we're going to very quickly go to the positive potentials and sort of dwell in that place since you would have been, properly forewarned about the potentials. Transiting North Node, Neptune, Venus, New Moon in Pisces, Saturn, then later in the month as these other three planets, Ceres, the Sun, and Mercury move from Aquarius into Pisces, is going to be all of those placements, 8 Pisces transits. At the same time, Mars in water sign Cancer is moving forward. And it's been we've been working with that since September, we'll just say. And then we have Star Goddess Vesta and Star Goddess Juno also now in Scorpio, completing this waterworks party. So while these are making great connections amongst themselves, which we'll get to, we'll talk about the glory of that, as a fire sign and as a Sagittarius, yikes, all right? What does water do to fire? It puts it out. So unless you're on fire and need to be put out, this is definitely going to bring in some elements of nuisance, of, emotional water being where it shouldn't be, This is very likely going to be a very, very emotional time, for better and worse. It could be highly emotional in a positive way, very emotionally connected, just having the conversations and connecting with people on that plane. But, a waterworks party is just not my favorite time for Sagittarius, and I don't like that. I don't like that for us. Now, specifically, all of that Pisces energy is making a square, all of it, to Sagittarius energy. And so not only are there going to be psychological, spiritual disturbances, probably, where we really have to confront our fears, addictions, worries, worst aspects, shadow self, difficult genetic translations, familial patterns, just all of that. We also are going to have this square come from our home and family, which, some could say is some of the worst places to have some points of strife or some points of conflict. So, this is really, really going to bring home and family into center, possibly in a stressful way. Now, Mars, having gone through Cancer for a lot of this retrograde cycle, has really been making our focus be very strong on home and family and real estate and, and housing. And hopefully you've noticed that although there were challenges to deal with there is also a lot of awesomeness, a lot of, getting recalibrated with the family units, fine tuning your home, getting your space situated. Many of you may have radically transformed your space, cleared it out, made it even more of what you want. And this energy could give you more of that. You could really upgrade your living circumstance. You could really, create a sanctuary, a haven of peace and beauty and spiritual connection in your home. And at the same time, this square is showing that there could be problems with your family and your house and your housing and water where it shouldn't be. All right. So that's pretty much the gist of the challenges that can happen. We don't have to go over that too much to say, be extra careful, be extra available, try to be less scheduled so that when things come up, you can be ready. Something else I can have you, help you by telling you is if you have extra money that comes in and you're tempted to spend it, saving that money now, especially if you're listening to this early, may help you out if unexpected expenses come regarding your home and family at that time. All right. So now that we've properly, hopefully didn't terrify you, because, really, there's no sense in being anxious about this because we really don't know how it's going to manifest. We just know it's going to be emotional. And, you're going to have to confront some things that you've had to, you may have buried for a long time. But there are so many wonderful ways this can manifest. So let's go into those. So you can feel more at home within yourself, finding your anchor anywhere outside of yourself is always going to be dicey. But this type of energy that we're seeing here can help you to really guide you to release these old emotional patterns and find this deeper sense of security and belonging within yourself and with your connection to spirit. This is a super spiritual set of transits. All of the water signs are being affected. For Sagittarius, all of the water houses are being affected because the Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer houses are the 4th and 8th and 12th. So Saggies have those water signs in those water houses. And so that's extra, extra oomph of all of those potentials. This could cause you to reconnect with family or heal something within the family. There may be some things, I alluded to genetics before. The study of genetics is going to definitely be the future of medicine, and the understanding of epigenetics is going to definitely be part of the future of medicine. How certain genes that we have a tendency towards having, certain things manifest can get turned on, and they can also get turned off. So what our surroundings are, the epigenetic forces, the stars are the epigenetic forces, our family, our work, our beliefs, there are so many different things that are the medium of our experience. Those things can be changed, and that can change the genetic expression. So you may be confronted with having to understand some things that may have been in your family, for a long time, and how you're going to work with them differently, whether it's just patterns and habits, whether it's addictions, whether it's medical things. All of these may be confronted now. You may dive deeper into your ancestry. You may find out some family secrets. You may have healing conversations and deep connections with family. There could be more of an effortless flow of that type of heart connection. And it very much is, a heart connection. If you are out of sorts with certain family members, you may find that something comes up with them at this time. And it can give you a really good opportunity to release these past wounds, explore the ancestral roots, and find the magic in, going back to your ancestral roots, finding something that inspires you or enlivens a hidden gift that maybe you have. It can also really help you build emotional resilience, So the Saturn is there helping out very strongly with that. So if there are any challenges that you go through now, it can definitely add to lasting emotional stability. And as I've mentioned before, and I will continue to bring this up as my service to fellow Saggies, one of the things that Sagittarius rules in the body is the liver. And so genetic mutations may cause you to process toxins differently than other people, which could cause buildup of hormones and neurotransmitters, which could cause mood issues, could cause, autoimmune diseases, could cause all kinds of trouble. So learning about your liver, babying your liver, loving your liver, can be one of the ways that you can change epigenetic forces to help things manifest differently. Many Saggies will find that they can't actually tolerate alcohol or substances the way other people can just filter it out. Some Saggies are going to notice, and this may be the awareness you have, is if you're trying to be like everybody else and, they can have a drink and not turn into a lunatic. Well, maybe they can and maybe you can't. I know I can't, and I know I've mentioned this before, but I want you all to know this because it's really important. You may be different than other people, and that's why you can't process things the same way. And this period of time may bring you closer to that understanding. Now, you may deepen your family bonds. This could be either healing or stepping away from ancestral family and deepening your connection to chosen family. Very much could be about chosen family too. This can be about soulful connections at home, creating this spiritual, mystical haven, and really focusing on these soul-aligned connections, which may or may not be your blood relatives. Something else that can come that's really great is creative expression and domestic bliss. So you could find yourself happily creating, channeling even music or art or guidance from the ethereal realms at this time. Now, when I talked about there being a square between these placements, a square doesn't always have to mean family, family strife or family trouble. It could also mean you have work to do there. Like, part of what happened during this time was a storm came through and we spent months cleaning up. And the storm was terrible, and that, that's its own thing. I'm talking about, we had several storms. We had Helene, Debbie, and Milton. But one of the things that was happening with this fourth house being accentuated for us, and Mars being, moving through the sign that rules the fourth house, was that we were actually cleaning up from this massive hurricane. So while we didn't want to clean up, and it was a pain, and it took a really long time, all of the things that we cleaned up turned out to get to a better state than they were at before, and more sturdy and more resistant if something happens again. And you may find that that sort of theme may come up for you, is if there are some challenges that come up, and you may see weak links start to express in this transit, okay? The weak links might not be easy to see, easy to look at, or easy to deal with, but once you start actually getting into them, you actually really can strengthen them. It's not cliche. You can see there's a weak spot and shore it up, and then it will be stronger the next time. So this is definitely a possibility, that this square represents work, that it doesn't have to represent something terrible, or if it's something challenging, that could pass, and then the work is involved. Or it could be something super positive, like you're moving and you want to move, but there's the, bittersweetness of the move, or there's the actual physical work of the move. So it could just represent physical work and not necessarily be something bad or negative. I always see a square as like the birthing of something. So whenever you birth a baby or something else, it's like, wow, that's hard. That's difficult. But then you have the baby and wow, okay, that's really cool. So, okay, that was worth it. Right. So that's also what's happening at this time, is that it's a birthing time for you. You may birth something amazing, a book, music, something extraordinary. And the growing or birthing pains that you go through to birth that are represented by the square. And the fact that there are so many of these planets squaring could be that you're birthing prolifically. So this can definitely open up, this prolific expression like only Sagittarius can do, because we are definitely, the most excessive of the zodiac, thanks to our ruler Jupiter, which, by the way, favorite discussion of this month is our ruler is going direct. Yay! So that's a really big deal. If you have felt forsaken by your ruler, by your friend, starting around October, maybe even a little earlier, and things died down with writing projects, with relationships, for the seventh house is where it's moving, with, teaching and learning and whatever else, international travel or other things, then Jupiter is going to be back and be like cleaning things up like crazy and helping your relationships expand wonderfully. New relationships, new chapters of relationships. And because Mars is enlivening your 8th house of deep relationships and relationships with money, between the combination of them both going direct, you may notice, a massive amount of progress, and your 8th house lit up like crazy. And of course, the 8th house is other people's money. So you may have other people giving you things, that's just falling in your lap. So family members, 8th house, money from there could be something that, could turn out to be very positive for you. There could also be fun things like new family traditions or old family traditions with a twist, like a reviving or a reinventing of things that you've done before. So really fun family focus. And then, or creating like a studio space or a recording space. And things like inspired cooking or gardening or, tending to plants and things like that, and an added mindfulness in your home space. This also very much has to do with spiritual awakening at your deepest core. Neptune and the energy, Neptune rules Pisces. So Neptune still being in Pisces and all of this other Pisces energy can really have to do with healing with your dreams, lucid dreaming, subconscious, work, affirmations, healing, things like NLP and EMDR and EFT. Those are my favorite inner work tools. And you can look those up or write them down. EFT, NLP, EMDR. Things like that. Creating sacred rituals that you practice in your daily life, and working with other people, like going to deeper levels with your relationships and things involving your home. So this very much can involve neighbors as well, and people like right in your proximity. Okay, so there are all of these empowering possibilities for Sag through this redesign of your roots, through, healing connections, through exploding intuition, through manifesting your dream home, through the creation of your current home into your dream home. And so I could talk at length about these things, but there are a couple of more things that I want to talk about. Before Mercury, the Sun, and Ceres get to Pisces, they are in Aquarius, and that is in a nice angle for us. And Pluto being there now, thank you, whoever you pray to, because this is really helpful. Pluto having been in Capricorn at a weird angle for us since 2008, dogging us in our money sector, possibly transforming in positive ways also, was, really stressful. And now Pluto is in a beautiful angle. So for 20 years, we have Pluto blessings to our Sagittarius placements in our sector of learning and education and writing and communicating and cousins and aunts and uncles and siblings and, So there's a lot of transformation afoot in the long term, but then in the short term, we've got Mercury there, news about relatives, the sun lighting up issues and opportunities, Ceres bringing nurturance to that space. You could be finding that you're taking a quick trip to see some relatives or some family, or they're visiting you, and opportunities to just have social interactions with others. And you may find that that's something that's going on. Maybe your home is being opened up more to have some friends come over, and you're starting to do that regularly, or, in a way that's fulfilling at this time. Okay, now the last thing that I want to talk about has to do with, actually there are two things, and they have to do with more nice aspects for us. So I told you I was going to get the yucky stuff done first, and that we would just pile on all the goodies. And that's exactly what we're doing. So with our happy ruler going direct, everything can seem like it's going our way more. Optimism, buoyancy, joy, happiness, creative solutions. Then we have the full moon in Leo, fellow fire sign, 24 degrees. I'm happy about that because my son's at 24 degrees. So it's an exact trine for me. Any of you friends who have your birthdays around December 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, you may get a direct kiss from that full moon in the days around February 12th. We'll extend it out to a 5-degree radius. So like December 11th, my favorite cousin's birthday, and up to the 29th degree. So really from around December 11th through the rest of the sign, you may get extra kisses from this full moon. And the closer you are to 24 degrees, the more you may get those. So December 11th through the rest of the sign, 19 degrees through 29 degrees for your Sag placement. And where can this kiss come? Fifth house stuff is the ruler of Leo. Love, true love, romance, children, creativity, passion, hidden talents, not so hidden talents. And it's happening in the 9th house of Sagittarius, which rules some of our favorite things. Different language, different cultures, different, travel and international affairs and teaching and learning and expansion of our horizons. So you may have something very wonderful happen, an international trip, can come to completion, fruition. If your birthday isn't in the zone that I mentioned, don't despair because you can still get fire goodies from this. It just may be more noticeable if you have a more direct mathematical connection, but being a fire sign, you can definitely still get extra goodies from this. And everybody is free and open to have these goodies, so you're not going to be left out. Then the other thing I'm really excited to report is that so Mars is going direct, Jupiter's going direct, a lot of things will start blazing forward that went sleepy in like October time and have been maybe sleepy since. Now, Venus is going to go direct March 1st, and it will go retrograde March 1st. It will start its retrograde out in Pisces. Or actually, it's going to move through Pisces, get to Aries. Then in Aries, it will go retrograde in Aries. It will dip back into Pisces, and then, and then it will move back to Aries. So all of the Venus retrograde is happening in Pisces, but mostly Aries. So what that means is that for the times that it's in Aries, which is the predominance of that time, all the Venus retrograde energy can give us extra goodies. So from the end of, from February 5th is when Venus gets into Aries. So reminder about Venus, if you know my work, then you know my grandma Marge. I'm just going to give a quick example of the type of energy that my grandma Marge embodies, which is why I associate her with the planet Venus. Whenever I would see her, she's my little Italian grandma who was always shorter than me, no matter how young I was somehow. And she would grab my face, kiss me on the mouth, give me love. She would give me money. She would tell me how great I was. She'd pop a meatball in my mouth, and I'd be, completely cared for and nurtured. So that's Venus. My grandma Marge is Venus. And when Venus moves through a fellow fire sign, especially for a long period of time. So from, February 5th, Venus is going to get there. And then it will pop out back into Pisces on March 28th, but it's never going to get far enough away from Aries that it won't still be influencing in Aries. Okay, so even when it pops back into Pisces, it's in those very late degrees. So it'll have the Piscean effects in our home and family, actually. So we could have money come back to us in that time. And then it will go back into Aries first, and we'll be there until June 7th. So all of that time, we have more of a chance to earn money, doing what we love and doing our passion, to have wonderful, restored, or deepened relationships with children, our own or others. We can have, an enhancement of vibrance or recognition to our, where we are in the world, how we put ourselves out into the world. We can have an enhanced expression of our highest expression in this lifetime. North Node is involved here just recently out of Aries. It's still influencing there. And of course, the fifth house is our bucket list, our favorite things that we always want to do. So the Venus retrograde is going to be able to bring all of those goodies to us, returning romance, returning fun stuff, involving children, involving the things that we've really, really enjoyed. Okay, so if you want, I've given you a lot of dates, and I've actually gone very long with this Sag report. I've gotten carried away. But if you want more stuff from me and you want all my content early and you don't want YouTube to chaperone me, basically running interference between my posts and you receiving them because of their agenda on your homepage that has nothing to do with what you want, then sign up for my free email newsletter at anniehelpsyou.com. It's the way that I can communicate with you directly without YouTube blocking me from getting to you with what I'm trying to give you. I've had many people tell me they don't realize that I'm posting weekly because they're not getting the notifications, because even if they're subscribed and click the bell and enable notifications, which YouTube wants you to go through all these hoops now to even have a chance to get the people who you're following into your inbox, they're still indiscriminately, they're basically deciding who's going to know about your posts. And I don't want you to miss the things that I'm doing every week for you. I'm posting more than ever. And most of you don't even know it. So you will know it if you sign up for my free VIP access. You'll get my eclipse resource page. We didn't talk too much about the eclipses, except that the Aries Libra eclipse cycle is going to be ending, and that's in a great angle for us. That's also in that fifth house, so something notable happening there. The eclipses are officially happening in March, so I'm going to talk about it more there, but we can see manifestations of that happening in February because we're in eclipse season. But if you want to know more about that, when you sign up for my free email newsletter, in the welcome page, you'll get my eclipse resource page, and it will direct you towards all of these resources specifically for you and your placements. And then my retrograde resource page, I actually have written more about Venus retrograde than any other single planetary thing. And I'll give you all of the links to everything I've written about Venus retrograde so you can get all ready for that. My zodiac health tips, my 28-day virtual coaching program, and my monthly star report with my sweet and salty dates. So you can, when you get the welcome letter, you get the archive link in the blue font there, and then you put February 2025 into the search bar in the archive link, and then you'll get this report. Sweet and salty dates are halfway down. Second half of the whole newsletter is talking about my favorite dates and the ones to watch. So hopefully I'll see you there. Okay. If you're a late degree friend and you're listening for Capricorn, that's coming on next. If you're going to listen to something else, use the timestamps. If you're signing off, look out for my weekly content wherever you subscribe to me, Podcast Friends or wherever. And I'll see you soon. Bye. Hello, Capricorn friends. Now we're going to do a deep dive into the things we talked about in the intro and how they relate specifically through the Capricorn lens of your chart for this time. This is for you if Capricorn is your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, or any other Cap placement you're listening for. What we're going to talk about here is part of your astrological picture. Very late degree Cap friends, so birthdays like January 15th through the rest of the sign, or Capricorn degrees, 23 degrees through the rest of the sign. I suggest you additionally listen to my Aquarius report, because your very late degree friends will benefit from both readings, and that report is following this directly, so you can just listen straight through. So we're going to talk about this tsunami of change and all of this watery energy and what this can mean for you specifically in the Capricorn chart. So as a reminder, we have transiting North Node, Neptune, Venus, new moon in Pisces, Saturn, and then later in the month, Mercury, the Sun, and Ceres will get into Pisces to join the Pisces party. Additionally, we've got Mars waking up, coming alive in Cancer. And then we've got Vesta in Scorpio and Juno in Scorpio. So there's just a major water party. So this is going to be a very highly emotional time. And we'll be feeling that. And that can be for better or for worse. Now, fortunately for Cappies, all of this water energy, like the Scorpio energy and also all that Pisces energy, is in what's called a sextile, which is a 60-degree angle, which is one of the best angles in astrology. It's the angle of opportunity. So you're going to have lots of opportunities that are coming to you socially, okay? Because the third house, which rules Gemini, and the 11th house, which rules Aquarius, is where the predominance of these water energies are going to be. So there is a chance for you to reach new heights with your communication, with your friendships, with your community, with your neighbors, with the groups that you're a part of, whether you're leading the group or participating at your teams. Everything is full of opportunities. Now, these are the type of opportunities that you may have to do something about, like I call them the ingredients on a counter aspect, because, you may be given ingredients to do something and you may have to make something with them, but it's still an opportunity and it's still a great angle. And you may still get some blessings without having to do anything, but everything is centered around this social, context. So anything that you can do to be interacting with other people virtually or live may enliven all of these possibilities for you. Now, because this Pisces energy accentuates Gemini, which is the third house, and because Jupiter is moving direct now in the sign of Gemini, those are many lines of energy about awakening your inner poet and your inner visionary and your inner writer and your inner communicator, to really step into higher octaves of how you use your words and how you create with your words and how you heal with your words. So this is very much a time about healing and forgiveness and open discussions and heart connections. This Pisces and this water energy is away from the practicality of earth and towards the emotional connection of water. And this really isn't a nice synastry for you because water and earth go together very well. Now, Cappy people, I have a lot of Capricorn in my chart. I have my moon there, Venus is there. My moon is in the Capricorn house. My Venus is on the cusp of the Capricorn house. My midheaven's in Capricorn. Not only are the reports that I give you for you, they're also for me. And I understand this energy from the inside a little bit more, okay? So Cappies tend to sometimes get a bad rap of being focused on material things and on work. And I am very sure that the grand majority of Cappies are doing all that work for somebody, for something, and not just, or even at all, really for themselves. Although a Capricorn loves to be productive and loves to be recognized if we do something good. That's fine. But usually behind every successful Capricorn is a family or a company or a group of people that are benefiting tremendously. And that is the impetus of the work of the Capricorn. It's very selfless and it's very heart connected. So this can be a time where the heart connections between you and the people that you help can really open up. You may receive gratitude from them. You may receive acknowledgement from them. You may be able to speak on different levels and open up, away from normal types of conversations and really dive into the heart of what it is that makes you connected to these people. You may get even better at compassionate listening or find that some other people around you really hearing you finally. There's also a very, very strong intuitive component to this. And you may find that for your business or your work or anything that you have to do, that your very strong intuition is going to be starting to reign supreme more. As I've talked about this before, a Capricorn may call their intuition their gut, but it's actually the same thing. It sounds less ethereal and more substantiated when we say our gut, right? Because it's more physical and that's material and that's easier to understand. But that comes from an attunement of the senses to things that are lesser seen. And that is spiritual, that is intuitive. So you're going to see your intuition raise the roof more than usual. And you may actually see a tsunami of change with how you use this in your life. And that is one of the big ways that this wave of change of all of this water energy activated by Jupiter going direct, activated by Mars going direct, activated by the eclipse cycles, that you may see that you really start to live more from your heart and your intuition, and that you make your logical decisions and assessments that are aligned more with the things that you feel and know and these higher ideals. Things about your siblings and your cousins and aunts and uncles are going to be supercharged. You are also going to have family, home, like parents, kids, closer family come up too. But there's a lot of energy around, siblings and relatives and aunts and uncles and cousins and all of these other people. You may find that there's a chance to release some mental rigidness around, ideas or beliefs that you had about these people in your life that could lead to dramatic healing. And there's also a chance for you to bring more magic to your everyday experience. And some people are put off by the word magic, because of various, I don't know why, different connotations over time. To me, magic is science that people haven't figured out how it works yet. Basically, or something happens and you're like, wow, that's magical. Well, there's some sort of spiritual principle underlying it that we might not have sophisticated enough machinery to track, but it is explainable. We just can't explain it yet, you see? And that's what magic is to me. Being a realistic Capricorn, to me, it's just, science that hasn't been discovered yet. And because we know this, other things that people were shocked and awed by in the past, whoa, it's magic. We know now, oh, well, that's just this, scientific principle at play or whatever. And the things that we still don't understand are the same way. There's a scientific principle behind them. But regardless, finding magic in the mundane is going to be an opportunity that you have at this time, and really tuning into synchronicity. Synchronicity is the language of spirit, and the language of spirit is manifested in every different way imaginable. A certain song comes on when you're thinking about something or someone. An animal crosses your path that you don't usually see, and you feel like it's talking to you. Sometimes animals will come and stare directly at you, like, okay, they're trying to talk to you. There are messages, they are messengers from spirit. And the more that you can tune in to this, the happier you'll be. And this is what this time is about. It could also have to do with a spiritual connection to community, or connection to community through spiritual things. There's a very big double community interest here, as I've said, from the 11th house and the 3rd house, and the Gemini energy waking up. Jupiter energy in Gemini waking up. Now, on that topic, if you had certain things slowing down involving Gemini things, the siblings, the community, even travel, writing, transportation, mobility. When Jupiter went retrograde in October, you may have started to even feel the slowdown a little sooner. But regardless of whatever happened, you may have seen a lot of things slowing down and going into the backdrop. And you might have felt less protected or less supported, and like your expansion just stopped. But it's going to come back now. And from now through June, it's going to blaze through the whole 6th house of the Capricorn chart. And for those from the Placidus chart perspective, those of you who are January born, and the later in January, the more this is true, you'll have longer with Jupiter in your 6th house in the Placidus chart. So in June, it will end for the early degrees. And then the later you are in the sign, the more you'll have Jupiter there. So this is going to help your health. This can help your wellness. This can alert you to issues that you have with your, with your routine or your stress management that needs support. This can give you like more of a freedom, an experience of freedom in your day-to-day experience. Like maybe you're finally catching up with things, like you're not behind. Like maybe there's more openness in your schedule where you can breathe a little bit and do some things that you enjoy. And maybe just your work schedule frees up or gets a little lighter, or you've gotten more efficient with your work so that you can have to work less. So all of these things are the blessings of Jupiter in your 6th house, and it going direct, you'll feel that. But relating back now to finding the magic in the mundane, this 6th house is the house of the mundane. And then all of this Pisces energy rules all of this synchronicity, and then your daily experience is lit up. So, all of this is happening. So you've got basically all of these opportunities to turn your words into power. The 3rd house is very much about the spoken word. Jupiter in Gemini is very much about the spoken word or the written word. And so, you can see the power of your words and use that power even more wisely. There's a study called semantics, and semantics studies the effect of the nervous system of words. And the more you study how words affect people, the more you can see how you can heal or help with your words, because words do have a vibration, and vibration is everything. Okay, so let's see what else we wanted to talk about. Let's talk about the full moon in Leo. So was that all? No, let me see. Let's talk about Mars real quick and then we'll get to the full moon. The Mars transit that has been going retrograde has been very focused on home and family. We've all been feeling that. It ducked briefly into Leo and then went back into Cancer. So this has been activating your partnership houses. All this time since September, you've been having your partnership houses worked in some way by Mars. Mars direct, Mars retrograde, Mars direct. And it's not done yet. But there will be some things in your relationships that start moving forward very quickly. And you had to take some time to go backwards with the retrograde to stall. It may have seemed stalled or on hold or stagnant, but things will start moving forward soon. And hopefully you were able to resolve some things so that they can move forward in better ways. So you'll be feeling that. And you'll be feeling really motivated and ambitious to work on your relationships, whether it's your personal ones, your business ones, or whether it's your clients or whatever. The obsessive border collie that is Mars, as I like to call it, is going to be making your focus be very much on the relationships that are most important to you. Okay, so then the full moon will be in Leo, 24 degrees, and fullness, completion, fruition, possibly drama coming to close relationships or money relationships or spousal or family relationships. There could be a spiritual breakthrough that happens, an elucidation that happens with this full moon. There could be an awareness or a discovery or a mystery being solved. There could be money that comes in. Yay! So the 8th house is other people's money. This is winnings. This is inheritances. Not that I'm saying yay to inheritances, of course, because that means someone died and we don't like that part. But if it happens to be that someone passes away, and that is terrible, there could be, something that comes from it as far as monetary things for you. Settlements, legal settlements, government help or help from angel investors and things like that. So in the days around the 12th, the days leading up to the 12th and a few days afterwards, this is very ripe for kind of this raw, possibly dramatic, theatrical full moon to manifest in very lively and vibrant ways. Could be a stress point because of the angle for Cap, but could have a really good outcome after it all. Okay, a few points about Venus retrograde. Venus goes retrograde March 1st. It's going to be retrograde. We talked about the dates already. Into April. It won't get fully up to speed until May 17th. Venus will be retrograde in Aries, and then it will go back into Pisces a bit, but it'll never be very far from Aries, so it'll still be influencing there. And this is going to accentuate your home and family, your housing. There may be money from real estate. There may be dealings involving your home that have to come out. There may be, love discussions or things involving your love and relationship and home. A couple of things to know about Venus retrograde, okay? Venus retrograde can be a bargain hunter's delight. If you have extra money and you look for bargains, you could find amazing bargains. Now, unfortunately, the reason for that is because a lot of people, I like to call the things that go on when Venus is in retrograde, the Venus goggles. And through the Venus goggles, everything is rosy or everything is warped. And so basically people aren't seeing money or love the way that it really is and the way they will come to see it. So unfortunately, sometimes people get very stressed and desperate about money, which makes them unload things of value for less than they're worth, which means bargain hunters can find deals, which is kind of terrible because it's taking advantage of a situation that people, but hey, that person is responsible and accountable for their circumstance, right? And their reality. So the point is that you can get tons of bargains. A couple of things to know. If you're overextending, be very careful with that. It's not a time to overextend. If you have the extra money and you won't miss it if something goes awry, that is the kind of money that you can, spend at this time. Also, if you're buying something and it's an expensive item, be very careful that it doesn't become a money pit. It doesn't always happen, but there is an increased chance that a big purchase like a home or a boat, boats are already, from having been a boat owner, the thing that people have said is true about boats, that they're just basically giant holes in the water that you throw money into. That is true, but some people choose to get them anyway for various reasons. But anyway, things can become a great money pit when you buy them at this time. And so you have to be extra careful to do inspections and, make sure that there's not something that you're not seeing that's the reason why something is cheap. Okay? But without, without those troubles, you have to, look out and do extra research there. But you actually can get a really good deal. But yeah, it's not always the best time to buy something that's going to be, a place where you live, because, and that's not true 100% of the time. There are definitely going to be exceptions to that. But because it just has a lot of unknowns, you just have to be extra, extra, extra careful, okay? But you can get a good deal if you do your due diligence. All right, Venus retrograde also is not the best time to do permanent cosmetic things that are not changeable, like tattoos, like stitching any eyebrows in, or whatever would be permanent. Cutting all your hair off if you've had it long, things like that. Cosmetic surgeries, things that could get botched up and that aren't easily fixed. Those are not the best things to have during the Venus retrograde cycle. But what is great to have is a new skincare regimen that is safe and isn't going to, do anything bad. Basically something that has a really good potential upside, but doesn't have a bad downside. Those are the kind of things that you can do during Venus retrograde for money, for love, for design, for cosmetic things. And big thing, if you're getting a divorce, oh gosh, I've seen this happen so many times. Many people will just be willing to give away their share of money in a divorce when Venus is in retrograde, and they come to later think, what was I thinking? When the Venus goggles come off, and then they wish they would have fought harder or held stronger for the things that they had, that was fair for them to get. So just try to if you're having to do negotiations of money in this time, be really careful to make sure you're getting what you deserve and that you're not giving up. And if you can put off the final decisions about things until after the transit is more clear, like in the middle of May, that may be better for you. And I know I'll be saving some people by mentioning this. So the retrogrades are one of my areas of expertise, and there's no way that I can convey all the things that I figured out and tracked over 20 years in this report. So you can see my book, Planetology, How to Align with the Natural Rhythms of the Universe. I have a lot of retrograde stuff in there, including my questions to ask lists about, how to make decisions. But you can also get my retrograde resource page, and you'll get links to all of the things I've written about Venus retrograde. I've actually written more about Venus retrograde than I have, I think, about any other transit. And you get that for free when you put your name and email address in at anniehelpsyou.com. You get that. You get the eclipse resource page. So we'll talk about the eclipses more next month. But for this month, just know that activity is brewing, and you're very likely to see life-changing events start to happen as a result of those eclipses. The zodiac health tips you get my 28-day virtual coaching program. You get my monthly written report with my sweet and salty dates. So when you sign up at anniehelpsyou.com, you put in your email address and name, and then you get the welcome letter, and you click on the archive link. It's in blue font. And then you put February 2025 in the search bar, and you'll get that report halfway down of the sweet and salty dates. And the second half of that newsletter is actually my favorite dates, and then the ones to be awareful and careful of. So that's how you find that. But there's actually a bigger reason that I'm asking you, hoping that you will sign up for this VIP access. And that's not only to get all of my content early and all of these goodies, but it's also because I've been a YouTuber for a long time. I don't tend to be a complainer. And I certainly don't bring a lot of, things in like that into what I'm offering you, because, this is about me sharing the things that I know and have figured out to help you. And so I don't tend to gripe on my channel. But I do want to make you aware that YouTube more than ever is chaperoning what gets to subscribers from content creators. And, this is a problem because people like me who've worked for over 12 years to build this, group of, for me, it's 150,000 people who say they want to see my content. But most of you are not seeing my content. So if you're listening to this and you want to directly know when I post, when just staying in direct connection with me without this intermediary of YouTube having to tell you is the best way for us to stay in touch, okay? And when you're in my community, that is the best way that we can do that, because YouTube is not notifying you. They're using your homepage for their agenda in their war with TikTok. They're not as interested in what you want. And I love YouTube. I'm very grateful for the opportunities that YouTube has given me. but they're really, doing very corporate-y types of things right now. Their shareholders, anyway, we're not going to get into all of that. But the point is, if you value my content and you want to see what I'm posting weekly, you may not even know that I'm posting weekly. The best way to know about that is to join my free VIP community, and I'll send newsletters out every week with what I posted, and then you'll know. Okay, so if you're staying on to listen to my Aquarius report, then that will come next. If you're listening to another one, you can find the timestamp. If you're signing off, I'll see you soon. And until then, bye-bye. Hello, Aquarius friends. Okay, so now we're going to look at the planetary events that I talked about in the intro through the lens of the Aquarius chart and add in more information about how Aquarius may experience this time. And this is a really, really big time for Aquarius. Of course, it is birthday time for most Aquarius placements. If you're watching for your sun sign, it's the time when the sun crosses over your Aquarius placement for most Aquariuses. And additionally, we have Pluto, Mercury, the Sun, and Ceres, all in Aquarius. So this is like a cosmic power surge. And all of these placements are moving through your first house of self. So this is, a time when you're trying to get some things straightened out for yourself, spend a little bit more time on developing your autonomy. That will also be supported by that solar eclipse in Aries in March, which we will be feeling now already. So this is a time to get on your feet and strengthen your sustainability with everything that you do, your health, your expression, and biggest thing to know is your finances. We'll get to that because all of the Pisces placements, that tsunami of change is going to be in your second house of finances. So we're going to build up to that. But let's just talk about these Aquarius placements first. For those of you whose birthday it is, happy birthday. For those of you who had your birthdays in January, happy belated birthday. Birthdays are a magical time when the universe is especially receptive to your wishes. And, that's where birthday wishes come from. So make sure to take full advantage of those, writing them down, saying them out loud, and feeling them as if they've already come true. All right, so all of these planets moving through, of course, Pluto is a long-term planet, recently finally staying in Aquarius. Will be there for 20 years, so we'll be talking about this for a while. But the short-term planets like Mercury is going to help you in bringing out your brilliant communication skills. And all of the Aquarius energy is very much about your innovation skills. So you may have flashes of genius. You may be ready for some bold communication. The Aquarius energy is very much about networking, so you can participate in some networking magic. You may have a lot of opportunities to connect with like-minded people and influential people, and your ability to inspire other people with visionary thinking is definitely at its peak. And these planets moving through the first house also make you very magnetic. So you may have access to people whose ears you would like to talk into, and they may be receptive to what you have to say more so than usual at this time. The sun is shining here. This is all about authenticity when mixed with this first house, which is the house of Aries. And it's always nice when air placements move through a fire house because they're mutually beneficial. So there's a nice flow there. This can help you expand your reach. Of course, the Aquarius energy is very much about your reach. So social media, social interactions of all kinds, inspiring other people and motivating and uplifting people, and also finding inspiration from the group and really stepping into leadership roles, starting new projects. Even within this retrograde, you may notice that some new projects come in. People think you can't start something new in Mercury retrograde or Mars retrograde or Venus retrograde, and that's definitely not true. What needs to be known is that if you want it to be very long-term and you're launching something you want to be very long-term, it may not be the best time to do that now, but it doesn't mean you can't do small steps, try on some things, get involved in some things that you don't have an attachment to the timeline. Those are perfect for this time. And then we have Ceres, and Ceres is nurturing. This is the glyph that represents Ceres is actually a sickle. It's the thing that cuts wheat. And it's about, the nourishment of the crop. It's about the nourishment, of your emotions and your physical sustenance And of course, here in Aquarius, it's this blending of community with sustenance. So something is happening. You're getting nurturance from the group. You're adding nurturance to the group. And then Pluto, is about this very long term reclamation of power, a radical evolution. From the whole house perspective, all Aquarius placements are feeling the entrance of Pluto, very strongly. And those of you who have early degree placements, so January born friends, especially in the beginning, like January 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, you all in there, really may be noticing some very life-changing experiences. Or if you have an Aquarius degree somewhere between 0 and like 5 or so degrees, you'll really, really be noticing Pluto's presence. And it's about control and letting go and using your power in the best way. And in general, the time with Pluto in Aquarius is really stepping into your trailblazing self. This is going to be in the first house for Aquarius for the entire 20 years. So, this is a very personal revolution for you. In general, the combination of the Aquarius placements moving through the first house is a time to just think bigger. Aquarius also rules our big dreams, not the ones we have at night, but the ones we have for our lives, for the future, for the world. So allowing yourself to dream, is something that is really asked for right now. And embracing change, Pluto is asking you to do that. And, just considering this energy, it's like, it's an alignment that's like rocket fuel for your personal growth and your personal evolution. So you may have a lot of personal breakthroughs, and this can have to do with your physical wellness. This can have to do with how you put yourself out there in the world, whether that's through profession or otherwise, what you want to be known as. And, is that an updated version of what, is relevant for you now? And if not, you'll go through this process of reinvention and forging these powerful connections with people who will help you bring out the vision of yourself that you want to come out. And all of this can definitely come with the transformation of mindset and mindset changes experience. I'm going to give you a couple of affirmations that you can hold close to your heart at this time. I step boldly into my power and embrace my unique gifts. This is very much about you bringing your unique gifts and adding them to the collective. And here's another one for you. My mind is a fountain of innovative ideas that inspire change. That really captures the essence of what's happening here in the short term and the long term. So now that we talked about the Aquarius placements, as the month progresses, the shorter moving planets, not Pluto, as we said, he'll be there for a long time, but Mercury, the Sun, and Ceres will join this Pisces party of Saturn, the moon, new moon on the 27th, Venus, for a short time, Neptune, and transiting North Node. This transiting North Node placement is going to be here for years now. It's recently popped in. And all of these placements are in your house of finances, earned income, money, things that you buy, material possessions, relationship to the material realm, including environmental things, and just basically how you relate with your sustenance, with the things that come in, your financial IQ. This is, if I were naming, this is all time stamped into one video this month or one podcast this month. But if I were naming this individually, it would certainly be focused on money for Aquarius, because it's just really, really powerful. So that tsunami of change that we feel this month with all of this water energy is very much focused on change in your finances. The North Node, long-term story, but new story, is calling you to destiny in your finances. It's lighting up your path of purpose. It's helping you to step into abundance and definitely boost your income and expand your resources, or learn the lessons by not having those things happening, to see what you have to get straight internally to shift the external experiences. This is also very much about aligning with your values with your actions. So are the things that you're doing aligning with where you want to be? Now, transiting North Node will be there for a while. Venus is fleeting. It will pass pretty quickly, but in the Venus retrograde cycle, Venus will go retrograde in March, and it will retrograde back into Pisces. So you will have part of the Venus retrograde story actually in your second house as well, which is going to bring a massive reconsideration of everything Venusian, and Venus does rule the second house. So there's extra power there. So this has to do with questioning everything about love, questioning everything about your relationships, questioning everything about money, how you make it, how you spend it, questioning everything about design and your environment and the aesthetics that surround you. It's also questioning self-esteem and what it's based in. With Venus moving through here for, an extra period of time because of the retrograde, this definitely can magnetize your prosperity. And sometimes those opportunities will come from the past. When we're talking about a retrograde energy, it's like money from past clients, job offers from past employers, getting back into something you did before, sending out a promo to people who are your business already. All of this with a tilt to the past is wonderful. And all of this energy crowded in the second house could also have to do with investments. We think about investments in the eighth house, but it's not the only place that we find investments. You can definitely see investment energy in the second house here. So Neptune is there, wanting you to dream big. That's a theme that we've been talking about. Adding spirituality to your finances, having more mindfulness and inspired earning. So your creative and your spiritual pursuits could lead to more income streams. Saturn here, long-term story, still going into next year, is possibly bringing some heaviness in finances as you get certain foundational things sorted out. And then it can start to build. Saturn is a long-term builder, very slow builder, kind of like the slow and steady wins the race type of situation. This is the tortoise, not the hare approach. So, you're putting building blocks in place for your current and future stability. And sometimes that takes time. And sometimes there's some karma around, around the finances as well. And of course, all of this has to do with intuition and, your feeling about things and your emotional connection to the material realm and to the people who you work with, financially. Okay, so then as the sun moves into the second house, this is going to light up anything great about your finances and also alert you to anything that needs to be fixed. Like a bright light in a dark room, when the sun comes in, you can see beautiful things like the colors of the walls better. But you can also see the cobwebs and, the cracks in the paint. So certain things may be revealed about your finances, especially through the combination of the sun moving there and then Venus retrograde. It's like, okay, we have some things to go back over and, and then you'll see what you have to do. Mercury adding to the equation can bring more social energy, people helping you out, neighbors, friends, people close to you, social situations as far as finances, conversations, travel about finances, strategic planning, and really speaking up about things like raises, partnerships, anything like that. In general, this tsunami of energy in your finances is making you a manifestation magnet. This is a fantastic time to use like affirmations and visualizations to attract abundance and to attract healing for the things that are interfering with it. This process is helping you to redefine what matters to you and to add to creative income streams, and for things that are Piscean ruled, possibly adding to your income, like art or music or creative writing or healing arts or psychology. Those types of things may help you to actually earn money at this time. And you may be changing the way that you make money and tilting it more towards this type of thing. Well, that can also bring financial healing, very deep financial healing on a psychological and spiritual level. I have a nice information for you for this. I attract abundance effortlessly while staying grounded in gratitude. And, the second house is very much about groundedness. And the Pisces element is very much about prayer and gratitude and acknowledgement for, the all that is and what you have. Okay, so we know you're in for a financial reboot with this tsunami of change. Now let's talk about Jupiter waking up is a great activator here. Jupiter is waking up in your house, Leo, and this is your passions, your creative influence, all of these things about the authenticity of the first house that we're talking about. Your creative expression is really, really coming up at this time. And Jupiter, who went direct, in October, you're going to start feeling things that slow down then move forward. In love, with children, with creativity, with things you've always wanted to do, like your bucket list projects. As Jupiter goes direct, you may be surprised at how quickly some of those things that stalled out start to pick up speed. And the same thing with Mars. So Mars has been working the home and family sector for all this time. Even when it's popped into Leo, it still has not been far enough away from Cancer to not be working there. So you're having, still some more focus on home and family and housing. And specifically for Aquarius, this lights up your health sector and your daily work and your daily systems and your daily experience. So you may be very motivated with your routines, with your health habits, with new practices, with your organization. You may find that you're obsessed with clearing out the house and getting good systems in place, or that your business is doing well if you're self-employed, or that you're busy at work, or that you're really gung-ho about stuff with your pets or animals. And so Mars waking up will affect those things specifically. And then just in general, the more oomph and motivation and inspiration, especially with both of these moving direct. So the Leo energy is coming again through the full moon in the days around the 12th of February. And then we've got this 24-degree Leo full moon, bringing fullness, completion, fruition, drama to everything Leo, which is the 5th house, which is what Jupiter is expanding for you, which is the children and the romance and the bucket list and the pleasures. So that energy may have something come to major fruition at this time. And it could bring drama. Leo is very theatrical, so there could be a lot of drama around this, for better and worse. And it's going to highlight your relationships. So you might have some big elucidation within your relationship space, some big news, some big information, something coming to light, something manifesting, or just an overall profoundly memorable experience. All of you will be feeling that, but those of you who are in the late degree realm, you may get more of a powerful, obvious expression of that. We'll say 19 degrees through the rest of the sign. So that's going to be like February 13th through the rest of the sign, and the closer to around the 17th, 18th, 19th, the more that's an exact hit. For better and worse, the intensity is stronger the closer you have the mathematical hit. But the work that you can do with it consciously to reveal and release any issues within the realms of Leo that we talked about, within the realm of partnerships, you can use that actively and equally. It doesn't have to be hitting in a close mathematical proximity to your placement, in order to use it. And this is of extra significance because those of you with, February 13th through on the 17th, 18th, 19th, you'll be getting a direct opposition to your Aquarius placement because Leo is in your opposing sign. Okay, so I mentioned the eclipses. We'll talk about those more in March. If you want to see where all the eclipses are hitting and to know more about those, definitely go to anniehelpsyou.com. Not only do you get all of my content early, you get free VIP access to my eclipse resource page, my retrograde resource page, my zodiac health tips, my 28-day virtual coaching program. And if you want my February written star report with my sweet and salty dates, I've given you a lot of dates. But if you want more, and the whole second half of that news, it's my longest newsletter, goes into my favorite aspects, the ones to be most awareful and careful of, and the sweet and salty date list. So you can find that when you go to anniehelpsyou.com and sign up. The welcome letter will have archive link, and in the archive link, you can just look for February 2025 astrology. Now, if you're already on my list and you're trying to find it, then any of my newsletters, if you can just find one in your inbox, there's an archive link in all of them. So you can just click on the archive link and just put February 2025 astrology, and then you can find it. There is another reason, even more near and dear to my heart, that I hope that you register for my free VIP community, because YouTube has been more and more over time. I've been a YouTuber for a long time. I've been doing it consistently for over 12 years. And over time, YouTube has been running more and more interference with letting creators connect directly with their audience. So it used to be that if you were a subscriber, you would get notified when I would post something, content, or post something to the community. And now that's a very selective process that YouTube has as to what it puts onto your homepage, because they're kind of in an epic battle with who they believe is their competitor, and they're putting things on your homepage to reach certain metrics. And it's less about, the content creators being able to communicate with their subscribers, and less about what you're saying as a subscriber you want to see in your homepage. And it's more about their agenda. So if you value my work and you don't want to miss anything, then I will let you know of all of the things I post in my newsletters here, because I am posting weekly, and most of you might not even know that because you're not getting notified. You know, the vast majority of the 150,000 people that have subscribed to my channel aren't even getting posts from me. And that's including even if you like, subscribe, click the bell, and enable notifications, which are the 4 things they're wanting you to do to have any chance at seeing something you subscribe to in your homepage. Even if you do all those things, I'm getting reports of people saying, where are you? Where have you been? I'm like, okay, I'm right here still. So, you know, if you value my work and you want to make sure you get it, staying on this list is the best way to make sure. Okay, so if you're going to now listen to Pisces report because you're a late degree Aquarius friend, then that's coming next. If you're going to use the timestamp to listen to another one of your placements, great. Otherwise, I'll see you, probably in a week or so with more content. Take care for now. So, wow, Pisces, this is really, really, really powerful for you. With all of these Pisces placement, this tsunami of change is directly targeting your sign. We're going to break it down and talk about all of these details. This is for you if Pisces is your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, or any other Pisces placement you're listening for. What I'm going to talk about here is part of your astrological picture. If you're a very late degree Pisces friend, so birthdays like March 15th through the rest of the sign, or Pisces degrees like 23 degrees through the rest of the sign, I suggest you additionally listen to my Aries report because your very late degree friends will benefit from both readings. So you are in for nothing less than a complete cosmic reset. You've got this time with all of these placements in Pisces. Saturn has been here for a while, so that's not new, but it is still ongoing and part of the picture. New moon on the 27th. Venus for a short time at the beginning. Neptune, long term, been going on. Finally going to shift here in March. Transiting North Node. This is new, but this is going to be in effect until 2027. It corresponds directly with the eclipse cycle, which again, you're in the hot seat still with the Pisces Virgo eclipse cycle, and you are feeling that this month. And then as the month progresses, Mercury, the Sun, and Ceres are all going to join the Pisces party. This is, a very unprecedented type of unusual tsunami of water energy here. And happy birthday to my Pisces friends, February born. Birthdays are a wonderful time when the universe is especially receptive to your wishes. So make sure you say your birthday wishes out loud, write them down, and feel them as if they've already come true to help you manifest and activate your reticular activating system to draw to you the things that will help you bring these wishes alive. So yourself and your soul is awakening. Something interesting about this is that all of these Pisces placements are crowding in a firehouse. Aries is a firehouse. So this is a very ethereal energy because of the Pisces. And even actually as the Mercury and the Sun and Ceres, before they get into the sign of Pisces, they're actually in your 12th house of Pisces. So it's just, and of course, Pluto recently now in your house of Pisces. It's really just like a crazy Pisces party. But the Pisces energy is in your Aries firehouse. This is so physical, so that it's completely ethereal energy, but in your physicality. This is about your physical body. This is about how the essence of who you are is transmitted through your movement and your eating and your lifestyle habits and how you present yourself and, everything that you put on your body and what you do with your body. It's very, very, very physical. It's your health. It's your wellness. It's how people know you, what they see, the first thing that they see. This is very much what you're putting out into the world. So this time in the short term is extra concentrated, but it's part of a longer term process of a complete redefinition of yourself. You're stepping more into your authentic power, figuring out what that is. You're reimagining yourself. You're releasing what no longer serves your soul's evolution. You're reclaiming your power. This is a very magnetic energy, and it can make you very persuasive as well. You can glow with more confidence. The sun and all of these other placements, but really the sun is, helping light up your charisma, and it's putting you in the spotlight. All of this is also your physical recognition, like people seeing you, knowing you, acknowledging you, like, whoa, there they are. And with Pisces, it's asking you, what's your soul's mission? What is your heart telling you? What is your connection to the all that is? And how is that going to be expressed through your daily things that you do and how you show up? It has to do with your nurturance of yourself or lack thereof. It has to do with seeing your body as a sacred body temple or lack thereof. It has to do with communication. Mercury is involved there. And it's just, a very profound time to step into the world as your most radiant and empowered self and bring your unique gifts to the forefront. Something else that may be a mission through this process is embracing visibility. If you have been hiding in the shadows, if you've been dulling your shine, if you've been, trying to be anonymous and, unknown, that may be time. It may be time to start changing that. If it feels like there's a draw or the synchronicities or the messages are guiding you towards more visibility. Synchronicity is one of the strongest words that I can use to embody this energy, because synchronicity is very much embodied in the Piscean energy. It's the language of spirit. Spirit is talking to you. What is it saying? This is a time to start taking action on the things that spirit is telling you. And Jupiter moving forward this month. Mars, that rules your energy and how you use it, moving forward this month. And Mars in fellow water sign, making trines to all of your Pisces placements and these Pisces transits. Juno that rules relationships in Scorpio, deep relationships. And Vesta that rules your soul flame, what lights you up in life, and your family. In Scorpio, making trines to the Pisces placements. This one grand water trine is just, very remarkable. And with Jupiter and Mars moving forward, this is time for decisions. This is time for action. This is time for taking action. And even though Venus is going to slide back, and by the way, Venus will be retrograde as part of its retrograde in Pisces. So this is also still targeting you, anything that you don't like in your life, anything that has been a fear, a psychological issue, a genetic problem, a familial pattern, can be completely eradicated. Now, if you go the route of the lower vibration of Pisces into escapism and avoidance and addiction, then all of this excess can put you in a very, very bad place. But if you use this energy for psychological healing, for spiritual exploration, for gratitude and spiritual connection, and you raise the octaves of the Pisces potentials up as high as you possibly can go, then that's going to be where you go with it. And you may need help to do that. And the Aquarius transits can definitely link you in with helpers, perfect helpers, a network, a community, or many different communities. And the Jupiter going direct in Gemini. Gemini is also very social. And for you specifically, this is going direct in your 4th house, Jupiter. So any expansion with your family that may have slowed down in October or so, you may feel that moving forward. If you need a new home space, if something's going on with your family unit, your housing, real estate, your inner world, your family, your family patterns, as I was saying before, all of that's going to be moving forward, but you may find help with your family. You may find solace with your family in your home. You may have friendships that facilitate the process of keeping you from the lower vibrations of Pisces and just really catapulting you into the higher vibrations of Pisces. Now, something that I really like about these energies, Juno and Vesta, that are part of this grand trine, that are configuring in with all of this magic for you, they're in the 9th house of Sagittarius. And something that's fun about this, okay, so the energy of Pisces is mutable, so it goes in a spiral, and it's a spiral that goes inward and downward. That's why Pisces can be, just very connected into the all that is, and, very introspective and very feeling and very, kind of into how you're feeling. It's an emotional energy. And the lower vibration of that can be depressive or avoidant, kind of going down and dark. But what is great about these Sagittarius energies that are coinciding with this is that Sagittarius is mutable as well. And it's a spiral, but it's an upward spiral. So if you join the Sagittarius upward spiral with this Pisces energy, then you can uplift it into the higher octaves. So teaching, learning, education, horizon broadening experiences, travel, looking for creative solutions, optimism, all of this can be part of how you balance out if there's any energy that's going into a place that's not the best, and lift you back into those positive Pisces possibilities. This is definitely a rebirth moment for you all in a longer process of multiple years of a bigger building process of that. And Venus in the beginning of the month is actually going to pop into your house of finances and join long-term Chiron, long-term Aries, and shorter-term Hygeia that's actually getting ready to leave. But a lot of the Venus retrograde is going to be in your second house of finances, which is ruled by Venus, and it will be partly in your, in your first house as well, in your sign. So this is really a redefinition of who you are, what your worth is, how you see your worth, how that's being conveyed, how you're carrying yourself with it, what you're hiding, what the mask is covering that is showing up in other areas, and how you can heal and seal all of that into more confidence, more radiance, more true authenticity, more comfort with vulnerability, and into more money, because ultimately this is going to affect your finances. And the ways that self-esteem issues or other problems may be affecting your finances is a topic that Venus is going to explore over the upcoming months. And you may have seen it starting to come up already with the Venus retrograde shadow period starting at the end of January. So I'm not going to talk a ton about the eclipses in this video or podcast, because the eclipse, I'll do that more in March, but we are in eclipse season and eclipse things may be happening. And since the first eclipse on the 13th to 14th of March is a lunar eclipse at 23 degrees of Virgo, that's your opposing sign. This is a continuation of the cycle that started at the end of last year and will go into 2027. So you're in the hot seat. Me versus we has been extra highlighted since 2023 with the Aries Libra eclipse cycle, and we are having the final one of those on March 29th at 9 degrees of Aries. But this Pisces Virgo eclipse cycle is highlighting the me-we houses for you. The Aries Libra was highlighting for everyone the me-we signs. But now you're having double duty of this. So you're really restructuring who you are to other people, how you are with other people, how you are with yourself, which is changing how you are with other people. And this may, radically change the relationships that you have and maybe end some and, and begin other ones. And whoever makes the cut, you'll just go in deeper with them, So there's going to be, a lot of releasing and letting go in relationship. And this is, for better and worse. Some of these things you might not want to say goodbye to, but some of them may be welcome. And certainly the opportunity here is very, very dramatic karma clearing within relationship space. So that's, the eclipses are very much about that. But you can definitely go to anniehelpsyou.com. When you sign up for my welcome letter, you get my eclipse resource page, and I'll direct you to videos specific, for your placements, plus the general eclipse energies, so that you can get a really good handle on these eclipses. And it's especially important for you as a Pisces, so it'll be a good idea. All right, so let's talk about the full moon. The full moon in the days around the 12th of February is going to be in in Leo. And so we've got double Leo energy for you. We've got Mars, when it does its waking up, it's actually waking up in the sign of Leo, not in the house of Leo, sorry. It's in the sign of Cancer, but it's in the house of Leo for Pisces. And then the full moon in the days around the 12th at 24 degrees of Leo is going to be bringing more Leo energy. So this is your creative juices. This is things having to do with children and romance and the spark of true love and dating and romance and things that bring you pleasure and your hobbies and your bucket list and how you show up radiantly with your creative energy. So you may be getting inspired from Mars moving forward. You may be getting back on creative projects that you had wandered away from or lost steam. And then there may be some big showing in the area of all of the Leo things that I just listed, with fullness, completion, fruition, possibly drama for better or worse from the full moon. Now that full moon can also bring fullness, completion, fruition, drama for better or worse into your health and pets and daily work and your daily experience and the people you see every day type of energy, office, etc., because that's where the Leo full moon will be specifically for Pisces. Okay, so I've given you a lot of dates. If you want more, go to anniehelpsyou.com, put your name and email address, click receive. You'll get the welcome letter. There will be an archive link. You click in there and then put February 2025. And you'll get my monthly written star report for February. The sweet and salty dates are about midway down. The whole second half of that long newsletter is talking about my favorite transits and what you can expect from them and the ones to be most awareful and careful of. If you haven't signed up for my free VIP community yet, you not only will get all of this, you'll get my eclipse resource page, my retrograde resource page, my zodiac health tips, 28-day virtual coaching program. Sometimes I send promos out just to that group. And you also get all of my content early. But the most important reason for me in my heart that for you to join this is that YouTube especially, and I'm not really sure how this is working for podcasts, but YouTube has been over time just chaperoning the content creators and their subscribers more. So it's been running more interference between me getting information to you through my posts on my channel, through my posts, through my content. And the vast majority of you are not getting notified about when I post something. So, and I'm sad about that. I'm not going to dwell on it. I'm a Sagittarius. I'm an optimist. I'm just going to keep doing my thing and, focusing on the best. But if you value my work, I want you to have it. And I am posting weekly. And most of you don't know that I'm posting weekly because YouTube is not telling you. And I don't know if Spotify or how this works with the podcasts, honestly, but somebody wants to tell me, if they're tending to get notifications on Spotify, which is my biggest podcast venue. So the best way to not miss anything from me is to be part of this free VIP community. I send out weekly newsletters and sometimes, an occasional something else. Oh, I posted this, whatever. And all of the newsletters are content rich with things to help you use the astrology to have your best life. And that's what I do. I want to help you align with natural rhythm to the universe. So if you want to keep better track of me and stay directly connected with me without us being chaperoned at the dance, then go to AnnieHelpsYou.com and put your name and email address in there. I've been posting for the full moon, the new moon, and usually some sort of surprise post during the month besides the horoscopes, which recently have been in one podcast or video and timestamped. Okay, so I will see you in my next report, or if you're going to listen to another section for another placement in this one. And until then, I hope you have a really easy time aligning with natural rhythms. Bye for now.